Chapter 11-19. A few hours later, in the virtual battlefield. This was a vast open space that stretched as far as the eye could see. Xia Ping, Ke, Li Hu, Lv Wenho, and the others all appeared in this virtual battlefield, and the two sides faced each other from afar. At this moment, hundreds of millions of people rushed in at once, and countless spectators were watching. They were all very interested to know who would win and who would lose in this duel. Of course, most people were optimistic about Lv Wenho and the others. After all, Lv Wenho and the others had the absolute upper hand in terms of martial arts realm and numbers, and Xia Ping was at an overwhelming disadvantage. Brother Xia, it's not too late for you to admit defeat now. In fact, we can also fight one-on-one. After all, we have more people and it's more or less unfair to fight against you. Tang Mingqian smiled slightly and put forward his suggestion. In fact, we want to fight you in a fair environment and verify each other's martial arts strength. He looked generous, but in fact, he was attacking Xia Ping's momentum. If Xia Ping agreed, it would be equivalent to admitting defeat and being inferior. In this case, even if it was a one-on-one fight, he would lose in terms of momentum. This was a psychological confrontation. Tang Mingqian knew very well about psychological warfare. Although the duel had not yet begun, the confrontation had already begun. Cut the crap, just fight. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and glanced sideways. I don't care about your mediocre martial arts. He was not moved at all. Good boy, you're arrogant to the extreme. I want to see what you're capable of later. Li Hu and the others glared at Xia Ping angrily. They really couldn't stand this bastard for a second. Clang! At this moment, a crisp bell sounded in the virtual battlefield, symbolizing the beginning of the battle. Boy, die. In an instant, Li Hu moved extremely quickly. Like a peerless fierce tiger, he jumped out of the crowd, carrying an extremely violent aura, and took the lead. Blood Tiger Fist. He clenched his fists, and all the strength in his body burst out. Every inch of his muscles swelled, and the violent magic power deep in his body affected the surrounding air. Vaguely, a vision of heaven and earth appeared behind him. A ferocious tiger more than 100 feet tall ran from the void, roaring at the sky, and the sound waves rolled. In fact, the aura condensed from its body was so solid that it covered the heavens and earth as it came crashing down on Xia Ping, causing mental pressure. This was the strength of a fulfillment realm cultivator. They had already successfully condensed their divine senses and could cause initial damage to the material world. If it was a regular purple mansion realm cultivator, they would probably be struck by the divine senses and be dazed for a moment. In a battle between experts, a single second of negligence could mean death. Such powerful strength. The spectating Qiankuan sect disciples were all astonished. Even among the fulfillment realm cultivators, Li Hu was extremely powerful. His physique was extremely special and he was like a monster with shocking talent. The Blood Tiger Fist was also an extremely brilliant fist technique. Once it was executed, it was as if an ancient ferocious beast had appeared in the world, emitting a terrifying and violent aura. Most of the time, the enemy didn't even know what was happening before their will was snatched away by the violent aura. If they were hit by the fist, their entire body would be torn into countless pieces. Moreover, the evil blood qi produced by this fist technique specialized in breaking through protective qigong and causing real damage. For some martial artists who were proficient in Henglian Kung Fu, it was simply a nemesis, a nightmare. During the freshman ranking tournament, Li Hu relied on this fist technique to defeat God knows how many opponents. He was also quite confident in his own strength, believing that he could defeat Xia Ping with one punch. Great Yin-Yang Tablet Breaking Palm. Xia Ping made his move abruptly and immediately used the Great Yin-Yang Tablet Breaking Hand. What? Li Hu was immediately shocked. He discovered that Xia Ping's aura had undergone a huge change in an instant. From a harmless little rabbit, he had instantly turned into a ferocious beast. A huge hand condensed out of mana slapped down from mid-air, descending from the sky. A terrifying aura instantly locked onto his body, and the area covered by the huge hand formed a domain. He actually managed to comprehend the great yin-yang tablet smashing palm to this level. He is indeed a monster. When the elders saw this scene, they immediately recognized that this was the legendary great yin-yang tablet smashing hand. Even though Xia Ping was not able to unleash much of this ultimate art's power, he was still able to do so. However, the destructive power that erupted now could not be underestimated. Without a certain degree of understanding, it was estimated that this kid would not be able to use it at all. What the hell is this? Li Hu's hair stood on end because he found that this huge hand condensed out of mana was simply like the hand of God, slapping down from the void. It was simply unavoidable and unavoidable. This huge hand contained the power of yin and yang, producing a terrifying suction force. Once the aura on his body was locked, then no matter where he fled, he would not be able to escape. Moreover, it was densely covered with runes. The lines of the palm were extremely clear, visible to the naked eye, like lines of the great Tao, resonating with heaven and earth, containing a tyrannical destructive power. Dong! His fist collided with this huge hand, and his blood tiger fist instantly collapsed. The mana on it disintegrated inch by inch, as if the air had produced a state of collapse. Moreover, this force even passed down inch by inch, directly bombarding his body. Oh no, run! As a warrior, Li Hu instinctively felt a fatal crisis. He wanted to use his body technique to escape, but he found that with his body as the center, the area within a radius of tens of meters had been controlled by this huge hand. It was as if he had been pinched by a giant hand, and there was nowhere to escape. Ah! Li Hu immediately let out a shrill scream. His entire body was like a tortoise, instantly slapped to the ground, and immediately a huge human-shaped pit appeared on the ground. Dozens of dense cracks also appeared on the ground, extending for several kilometers. The scene was shocking. An intense pain spread throughout his body, penetrating into his soul. Although this was only a virtual space, there was also soul power in it. If he was hurt, the pain was 100% real, and it could not be faked. With a few cracking sounds, the tyrannical force instantly penetrated into every corner of his body. His bones were broken, and even his internal organs were severely damaged. Whoosh! In the next second, Li Hu's body disappeared from the virtual space. Obviously, he had been slapped to death by Xia Ping. No way. He was slapped to death with one slap. This is too much of a joke. What happened? What the hell just happened? The people who were watching the battle were stunned. The duel had just begun. Li Hu, who was ranked 5th among the freshmen, had defeated many geniuses with a pair of iron fists. But now, he could not even withstand a slap from Xia Ping and was directly slapped to death. Chapter 1120. Amazing. Is this the prowess of the great yin-yang tablet-breaking hand? After mastering this martial art, it's a piece of cake to challenge those of a higher level. This Li Hu didn't lose for no reason. One mustn't be careless when facing the great yin-yang tablet-breaking hand. If there's a moment of carelessness, it'll be over in one move. The eyelids of many Qinkuan sect's elders twitched. They clearly saw that according to Li Hu's reaction speed, he should be able to dodge this palm strike. He shouldn't have been killed so easily. However, this palm strike had an extremely strong sticky force. It was like the forces of yin and yang were strangling each other at the same time. It locked onto Li Hu's aura, making it impossible for him to dodge or hide. In the end, Li Hu could only be smacked to death like a punching bag. Even though Xia Ping hadn't completely unleashed the true power of the great yin-yang tablet-breaking hand, the sect's elders could tell how terrifying this Saint-tier ultimate art was. It was definitely extraordinary. Li Hu was defeated. Tang Mingchen and the others were astonished. Previously, they had looked down on Xia Ping a little. Perhaps Li Hu alone would be able to make Xia Ping feel anxious and at a loss. He might even be able to defeat Xia Ping. However, Li Hu was instantly killed without even having the strength to struggle. This immediately shocked them. They were also very clear that this kid was as expected of a disciple of a saint. He was completely different from the enemies they had faced in the past. If they continued to be careless, they would also follow in Li Hu's footsteps. If they were to lose the match despite fighting 10 against 1, they would really lose all their face. Attack! Tang Mingchen and the others exchanged a glance as if they were telepathically connected. They knew that this enemy was no small matter and they couldn't afford to be careless at all. Swoosh! In an instant, 5 to 6 people rushed out, including Batu, Ku Er, and the others. Although Ku Er more or less disliked Xia Ping, he was still a cultivator after all. If he were to lose this battle, he would be greatly embarrassed. Therefore, no matter what, he had to go all out. 9 Palaces Sword Art. Ku Er immediately took out a meter-long sword and pounced towards Xia Ping. He executed a supreme sword art. This was a peerless king-tier sword art that he had exchanged from Qiankun sect. It was extremely close to a saint-tier ultimate art and had boundless might. With a thrust of the sword chi immediately overlapped. He stepped on the 9 Palaces steps, and 9 figures of him appeared in the entire field. It was impossible to see where his real body was. It was as if 9 peerless swordsmen were attacking at the same time, increasing their power by several times. It could be said that his current strength was much stronger than when he was in the ranking tournament. Xia Ping, have a taste of my blood-melting saber. Die! A blood-colored figure also rushed out from the left. It was Batu, who was ranked 10th. He held a large blood-colored blade in his hand, and like a brown bear, he leaped over from the distance and slashed out in the air. The blood-dissolving saber technique was an extremely strange and vicious saber technique that was close to a sacred unique skill. If someone was struck by this saber technique, their blood would immediately be sucked dry. In a few breaths' time, they would turn into a dried corpse like a mummy. This was definitely an extremely evil saber technique, and it was very difficult to successfully cultivate it. One had to be able to control the bloodthirsty thoughts in one's heart. Otherwise, one would be controlled by the demonic thoughts and become a bloodthirsty demon. There was once a cultivator who had learned the blood-dissolving saber technique, but he couldn't control himself at all. One winter night, he turned into a demon and massacred all the humans in the city. There were millions of casualties. Boom! As this saber blasted over, countless sword chi gathered together and transformed into a huge blood-colored skeleton. It roared ferociously like a demon, wanting to swallow Xia Ping in one bite. Frightened Dragon Whip. The person who charged out from the right was a woman ranked 2nd. Her name was Qin Fanghua. She was a plump woman and weighed 300 kilograms. She looked like a small mountain. However, when she moved, she was extremely agile and light as a feather. It was as though gravity had no effect on her. She was good at using the whip technique and had mastered the unique skill, Frightened Dragon Whip. With this whip technique, she had defeated countless opponents. Ordinary Outer Sanctum disciples would instantly faint after being hit by the whip. It was said that she had a hobby of abusing men. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. In just a breath's time, there were hundreds and thousands of whip shadows in the air. Each whip shadow was like a poisonous snake, making hissing sounds. The surrounding people were all in awe. They could feel that this whip shadow contained a sinister Yin energy. If they were hit, the Yin energy would instantly injure their internal organs. Thousands of whip shadows bombarded down like a group of dancing snakes. There was no way to avoid them. Too powerful. The Outer Sanctum disciples who were watching in the virtual battlefield were all shocked. They were in awe. She was indeed worthy of being the top 10 cultivators among the freshmen. Her understanding of martial arts had reached a level that ordinary disciples couldn't reach. It had been more than 10 days since the end of the ranking tournament, but during this period of time, they had improved by leaps and bounds. It was as though they were constantly evolving. The gap between the strong and the weak was getting bigger and bigger like a chasm. This year's disciples are not bad. Some of the senior brothers and sisters instantly raised their brows. They also had times when they were weak. If they were to put themselves in their shoes, if they were still fulfillment realm cultivators, it would be hard to tell who would win if they fought against this group of people. It might even be possible for them to be defeated. This Xia Ping is finished. Feeling the power of these top 10 disciples, the surrounding spectators couldn't help but have this thought. Such power was simply invincible in the same realm, and it was impossible for anyone to defeat them at the same time. Moreover, Xia Ping was only at the Purple Mansion realm. If he advanced to the Fulfillment realm, it might be possible for him to win. But with his current martial arts realm, there was no chance of winning. But at this moment, Xia Ping immediately moved against the 5 or 6 experts that attacked him. Lion's Vajra Seal. In an instant, Xia Ping formed a seal with both hands and used this spiritual secret technique. Immediately, his spiritual power erupted, and there seemed to be a giant phantom of a lion in the void. It was as though a divine lion had descended to the earth and roared at the sky. Golden light bloomed around it, and it was extremely dazzling. What? Ku Er and the others who attacked Xia Ping were all shocked because they sensed that at this moment, Xia Ping's body erupted with an overwhelming spiritual power. It was like a towering mountain, like a giant that couldn't be looked at directly. It crushed over fiercely and knocked on their souls like a heavy hammer. No matter how fast their attack speed was, how could it be faster than the speed of spiritual power? Chapter 11:21. Not good. How can this be? Why is his mental strength so powerful? We are fulfillment realm cultivators who have already condensed divine senses. Why is this kid's mental strength far above ours, resulting in such an overwhelming advantage? Kerr and the others were stunned. They felt like they were in the middle of a stormy sea. They were just a small boat in such a turbulent sea that could be destroyed at any moment. It was also like a little white rabbit in a grassland suddenly facing a lion. It immediately felt like it was on the verge of death. Boom! When the mental strength surged down, their minds instantly went blank. It was as if time had stopped. Their entire bodies stopped in midair, unable to move. To ordinary people, a moment of stillness was nothing. It could pass in the blink of an eye. However, in a battle between experts, it was simply fatal. Whoosh! Xia Ping also attacked at that moment. He took a step forward and slammed his palm down. It was the great Yin Yang tablet breaking hand. A terrifying hand made of magic power quickly condensed in midair. Black and white air currents swirled like a huge black and white millstone. It also looked like the hand of a giant. Dong! At that moment, the hand stretched out its 5 fingers and quickly closed. Like an eagle grabbing a chick, it grabbed Kerr and the other 5 people. A terrifying force enveloped their bodies. Even the power they unleashed was instantly annihilated by this force, disappearing in midair. It's over. Kerr and the others were horrified. They wanted to move their bodies with all their might, but it was to no avail. They could only watch as the hand closed in. This feeling was extremely terrifying. It was as if they were watching their own deaths and being crushed into meat paste by a millstone. Die! Xia Ping squeezed gently. With a boom, the bodies of Kerr and the others exploded like watermelons. The air vibrated thousands of times like a nuclear explosion. The destructive power generated was extremely shocking. A huge mushroom cloud appeared in midair, and the shockwaves spread out in all directions. The ground was immediately blasted into a crater that was thousands of meters deep. Countless cracks appeared, densely packed like a spider web. Kerr and the others were immediately expelled from the virtual world, and their consciousness returned to the real world. All of them were gasping for breath in their own bedrooms. Their eyes were filled with shock and unwillingness, as if they were unwilling to be killed by Xia Ping in one move. Such resentment, unwillingness, and regret made them gnash their teeth. However, the surrounding audience was stunned. The situation of the battle had taken a sudden turn. Xia Ping should have been in a fatal crisis, but now, Xia Ping had turned the situation around. In an instant, the 6 experts exploded at the same time, shattering in midair. The power was so violent that it made them so scared that their jaws almost dropped. Damn it, what happened just now? Ku Er and the other experts were squashed to death like bugs. They couldn't even escape. It's too exaggerated. I don't understand what just happened at all. Why were the 6 of them frozen all of a sudden, as though they were struck by a martial arts mystique that has been lost for a long time? I'm not sure. The battle situation changed too quickly. The outcome was decided in an instant. Could it be that these guys were bribed by Xia Ping and went easy on him at the critical moment? Stop joking. Which one of Ku Er and the others isn't a member of the royal family or from a large family? How much money would it take to bribe these geniuses? Ordinary people wouldn't be able to do it even if they went bankrupt. This is as ridiculous as bribing the richest man. The surrounding outer sect disciples were all stunned. They couldn't see what had happened even with their eyesight, but one thing they were sure of was that Ku Er and the others had definitely not gone easy on them. Instead, something incredible had happened during the battle. What powerful mental power! It's too exaggerated. No way. Is this still the mental power of a Purple Mansion realm cultivator? It can definitely sweep away those in the fulfillment realm and is comparable to a divine realm cultivator. Could it be that his innate soul power is extremely terrifying? Moreover, he has mastered an extremely powerful mental secret skill. His attacks are traceless and formless. In that case, the human wave tactic has no effect on him. Those with weak mental power will be killed instantly. No wonder he dared to agree to this battle. He does have some ability to fight 1 against 10. Humph. If he didn't have this ability, how would he dare to become a disciple of a saint? Many senior brothers and senior sisters were extremely discerning and knowledgeable. They could immediately tell that the reason why Kerr and the others had suddenly froze in midair was because they had been struck by Xia Ping's mental attack and were momentarily dazed. In the end, they lost the initiative and were killed by Xia Ping with 1 palm. It could be said that this was the difference in strength that couldn't be made up for. Ha! This kid is indeed not bad. That's to be expected. If his mental power isn't strong enough, how can he resist the pressure of the heaven and earth wall? I wonder if he learned this mental secret skill himself or if the old ancestor taught him. Its power is really extraordinary. Indeed. Even the heaven and earth sect doesn't have such a high-level mental secret skill. No matter where he got it from, if one's mental power isn't strong enough, they probably won't be able to gain the upper hand in front of him. Being born with a strong soul is indeed unfathomable. Fortunately, he is a disciple of our heaven and earth sect. I can understand why the old ancestor took him as a disciple. The group of elders nodded. They stroked their beards, feeling very happy. The stronger Xia Ping was, the brighter the future of the heaven and earth sect would be. How could they not be happy? After all, in the entire universe, there were as many powerful cultivators as the hairs on a cow. The heaven and earth sect wasn't considered much. Go and die. At this moment, the situation of the battle suddenly changed. After Xia Ping finished off Ku Er and the others with a single move, he landed on the ground. But suddenly, 2 black figures charged out. One was the 3rd-ranked Tang Mingchen. He had been hiding in the dark for a long time and took advantage of the moment when Xia Ping killed Ku Er and the others to instantly attack, finding an opening in that instant. A black dagger appeared in his hand. Like a phantom, it appeared from a blind spot that Xia Ping couldn't see and fiercely stabbed towards Xia Ping's back. The other was the 7th-ranked Panda. He was proficient in the shadow binding art and could control shadows to restrain the movements of his opponent. He was also an assassin and was extremely powerful. He worked together with Tang Mingchen to set up this fatal trap. Michum. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He discovered that his arms, legs, and even his entire body were tied up by black ropes. He couldn't move at all, as though he had been struck by the tortoise binding art. Chapter 11:22. Brother Xia, you are indeed powerful. As expected of a disciple of a saint. Tang Mingchen laughed sinisterly. That wave of mental attack just now almost hit me. It gave me the illusion that I was about to go to hell. Fortunately, I am a vigilant person and did not attack so impulsively. Otherwise, I would have definitely died along with Kur and the others. This move is almost unsolvable. But now that you have been hit by my and Panda's moves, it is impossible for you to escape. This time, we have won. Go to hell. He was extremely excited. When Xia Ping unleashed his strength in an instant, he was almost scared to death. That destructive mental force that swept through everything was simply unsolvable. This was because this was a mental attack. Speed and physical strength could not withstand it. The only thing that could be blocked was soul force. The problem was, this overwhelming spiritual gap made him feel despair. Fortunately, Tang Mingchen retreated in time and did not follow those idiots. Otherwise, he would not have been able to escape being killed in a single move and being annihilated. Furthermore, this situation was both a crisis and an opportunity. He felt that Xia Ping had killed 6 experts and must have expended a lot of energy, so he could not recover his magic power so quickly. Therefore, he took this opportunity to cooperate with Panda and instantly set up this trap. It was obvious that things had progressed very smoothly. As expected, this kid was careless and fell for it. That's right, Brother Xia. No one has been able to break free from my shadow binding technique so far. Just die obediently. Panda was also very pleased with himself. Every shadow rope on my shadow binding technique has a strength of several hundred kilograms. With thousands of them stacked together, unless you are the reincarnation of a divine beast, you will not be able to break free. Obediently surrender. You're already finished. He was also very excited. He could finally defeat this monster-like disciple of a saint. This time, not only would they be able to become famous, they would even be able to obtain 100 yin and yang pills. At this moment, Pandit seemed to have seen his victory and the scene of 10,000 people cheering for him. He also seemed to have seen this brat's mournful face. He could brag about this victory for the rest of his life. In the future, even if Xia Ping became a saint, he could still brag that he was someone who had defeated a saint. Die. Tang Mingchen's expression was ferocious. He knew very well that if Xia Ping found a way to break free from the shadow binding technique, then they would probably be completely finished. Boom! He circulated the mana in his body and infused it all into the dagger in his hand. Immediately, a terrifying penetrative power exploded out. No one would be able to block this kind of assassination. He could instantly pierce through this brat's heart. But when he stabbed the dagger at Xia Ping, there was a clanging sound. The dagger in his hand stabbed into Xia Ping's body and was immediately blocked by a layer of qi. What? Tang Mingchen simply couldn't believe it. His eyes widened as he stared at the dagger in his hand. The piercing power that should have been able to pierce through any defense was actually blocked by the layer of qi around Xia Ping's body. He didn't feel like he was stuck in a human's body, but a ball of cotton instead. It was like he was stuck in a sea of seawater. All the strength in his body was completely swallowed up. It was as if his power was being devoured by a kunpeng. Moreover, a tyrannical whirlpool power came from Xia Ping's body, continuously spinning. The dagger in his hand was tightly sucked in, and it was impossible for him to break free even if he wanted to. Impossible. What kind of defensive technique did you cultivate to be able to resist my assassination? Tang Mingchen was dumbfounded. His assassination technique, which had never failed, was useless in front of Xia Ping. A fatal blow, but it couldn't even break this kid's defense. In this case, how could he kill Xiaoping? Immediately, his confidence suffered a serious blow, and he collapsed. Noisy. Xiaoping looked at Tang Mingchen indifferently. His spiritual power spread around. He had long sensed the small movements of Tang Mingchen and Panda, but he ignored them. Because the strength of Dark North's defensive technique was beyond their imagination, he let the two of them move, and then controlled the two of them beside him. In this way, the two of them would never be able to escape. With a backhand, a huge palm of magic power appeared in the air and descended from the sky. Like the palm of Buddha, it crushed down fiercely, covering a radius of 3 miles. Not good, run. Panda and Tang Mingchen's faces changed drastically. They felt the tyrannical power of this palm. It was like a huge black and white millstone crushing down, enough to obliterate anything. But they were too close to Xiaoping. No matter how fast they were, it was impossible to escape. Dong! As soon as he finished speaking, the giant palm crushed down, like a giant slapping an ant to death. The surrounding air shook as if it had been destroyed thousands of times. It was also as if the sky had collapsed, and there was nowhere to escape. Ah! Panda and Tang Mingchen let out a shrill scream. They felt that the destructive power was passing down inch by inch from the void, seeping into every corner of their bodies. It was as if every cell had suffered a destructive blow. In the next second, the two of them disappeared from the virtual battlefield and died on the spot. Panda, Tang Mingchen, you two lost too. At this moment, Kerr and the others immediately saw that Panda and Tang Mingchen were expelled from the virtual network, which proved that the two of them had also been eliminated by Xiaoping. Yes, we lost. That kid is simply a monster. Panda and Tang Mingchen were both very depressed. They thought that this was a sure kill move, and ordinary people wouldn't be able to withstand it at all. Who knew that this guy had cultivated an abnormal level of defensive cultivation technique, and even with their attack power, they couldn't penetrate it. If that was the case, what was the point of fighting? Who could defeat this monster? It can't be. Both of you have lost. Doesn't that mean that all of us have been eliminated? That guy really fought against 10 of us. Ba Tu's face turned green. Previously, they thought that it would be a piece of cake for them to fight 10 against 1. There was absolutely no reason for them to lose. But now, something like this had happened. It was really embarrassing. No, LV Wenho hasn't lost yet. From the beginning until now, he has been standing on the same spot and hasn't made a move. Tang Mingchen said in a deep voice, his eyes gleaming. You guys also know that we are not on the same level as LV Wenho. Perhaps the hope of defeating that monster lies with LV Wenho. After all, he is also a monster who has mastered the LV family's saint-level unique skill, sky-splitting halberd. Saint-level unique skill, sky-splitting halberd. Everyone couldn't help but feel a chill. Legend had it that it was a unique skill created by the LV family's saint. Once successfully cultivated, it would have the power to split heaven and earth and be invincible. Chapter 1123. At this moment, in the virtual battlefield, only Xiaoping and LV Wenho were left on the battlefield. The two of them faced each other from afar. Alright, those small fries have left. It's finally my turn to fight you and me. With a boom, LV Wenho took out a halberd. He was more than 2 meters tall, which wasn't considered tall compared to the giants. But standing there, he exuded a mountain-like aura that no one could surpass. It was also extremely heavy, as if gravity had changed with his body as the center, producing a strong sense of oppression. Small fries? Hearing this, Kuer and the others were so angry that they wanted to beat this bastard up. They were all companions, but he called them small fries. It was too hurtful. But now that they had all been eliminated, there was nothing they could do even if they wanted to refute. If you had chosen to attack just now, you might have been able to cause some damage to me. Now, you have no chance. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, looking at LV Wenho calmly. Cut the crap. Take my halberd first. LV Wenho didn't waste any time talking to Xia Ping. He picked up the halberd and slashed at the void. Boom! This halberd burst forth with a terrifying destructive power. A sharp cold light streaked across the void, sweeping across as if it was going to split the sky in half. Although the audience outside the battlefield weren't there, they could feel how terrifying this halberd was through the screen. It seemed to be able to pass through space and transmit a threatening chill to everyone's heart. If they were in LV Wenho's shoes, they would probably be split in half by this halberd in an instant. The LV family's secret art, heaven-splitting halberd, is indeed extraordinary. Rumor has it that when this secret art is cultivated to a high level, it can split the stars with a light strike. It has the might of an overlord and is invincible. Back then, the ancestor of the LV family was a sage. He used this secret art to defeat many sages. Unfortunately, he entered a certain universe mystic realm and died. Since then, the LV family has declined. Even if it has declined, there are still a few nails in a rotten ship. This secret art, heaven-splitting halberd, is one of the LV family's legacies. I didn't expect LV Wenho to obtain it, master it, and carry it forward. I wonder how the great yin-yang tablet-breaking palm will compare with the heaven-splitting halberd. Many of the elders discussed spiritedly. They could immediately tell that LV Wenho's attack was extraordinary. Not only did it contain a terrifying penetrative power, but it also contained a spiritual attack. As the halberd slashed over, it felt as though it was going to cleave one's soul in half. No matter how one tried to defend against it, it was useless. Great yin-yang tablet smashing hand. In that instant, Xia Ping could also sense the threat emanating from LV Wenho. This halberd strike was terrifying beyond imagination. This LV Wenho was completely different from the previous 9. He was a true demon, and had to be prepared. He slapped out with his palm, and the yin and yang qi gathered together. It was like a giant's hand reaching out from the void, grabbing at the halberd like an eagle grabbing a chicken. The two powers collided, and the yin-yang power and the tearing power collided. It was like a comet hitting the earth, and a massive explosion immediately sounded out. Dong! Immediately, a huge pit with a diameter of more than 10 kilometers appeared on the ground. The surrounding gravel was shaken into powder and crackled. There was even a terrifying crack that extended for more than 10 kilometers, forming a bottomless abyss that seemed to have split the earth into two. However, this was just the beginning. In an instant, the two of them engaged in an intense battle. Bang bang bang. In mid-air, the two figures kept colliding. Fists and halberds kept colliding. It was like meteorites exploding from the sky to the ground, and then from the ground to the sky. In just a few minutes, the two of them had exchanged hundreds of blows, and each of them used their full strength. Immediately, a huge pit appeared on the ground. It was like the surface of the moon, and there was a loud rumble. The surrounding gravel was shaken into powder, and it was a mess. So strong. Ku Er and the others were shocked. They seemed to have seen two monsters colliding. This was a battle that wasn't even on the same level as them. It was too terrifying. A casual strike from LV Wenho seemed to have the power to tear the sky apart. A casual punch from Xia Ping had the power to shatter stars. If they were in the middle of the battle between the two of them, they would probably be torn to pieces in an instant. Even Ku Er and the others were so shocked, let alone the other outer sect disciples. They were all dumbfounded, and their minds were completely blank. Many of their senior brothers and sisters had solemn expressions. Although the two of them had just entered the sect, they all knew that it wouldn't take long for these two monsters to reach their current realm. At that time, it would probably be these two people's turn to compete with them. This wasn't so far in the future, but it was within reach. It seems that a peerless genius has really appeared in the LV family this time. He can't be underestimated. Many elders' eyes suddenly lit up. Although this was only a low-level battle, they could also see that the two of them had infinite potential. They were like two young lions, and sooner or later, they would rule the world. Dong! After another collision, the two of them instantly separated and faced each other from a distance. The aura of the two sides collided, shaking the ground to the point that countless cracks appeared and cracking sounds could be heard. Xia Ping, you really deserve my full strength. Chapter 1124. Several days later. Yanhuang Peak, in a quiet room. Xia Ping had won over 1,000 yin-yang pills from Ku Er and the others. He did not exchange them for anything, but used them to cultivate. He planned to break through to the fulfillment realm in one go. After the battle with LV Wenho and the others, he felt that he had touched the threshold of the fulfillment realm. With the help of 1,000 yin-yang pills, he was confident. Whoosh! Xia Ping swallowed the yin-yang pills one by one. He circulated the pure yang everlasting art, and these yin-yang pills were immediately refined into large amounts of medicinal qi, which surged into every corner of his body. Then, these medicinal qi were rapidly converted into spiritual power, greatly increasing the spiritual power in his Purple Kingdom. Because of the increase in spiritual power, the space in his Purple Kingdom also expanded and opened up bit by bit. After an unknown period of time, when the spiritual power reached its peak, there was a boom. Xia Ping felt his body shake violently. This sound was like a huge explosion that split the heavens and earth. Xia Ping felt that his soul had undergone an earth-shattering change. At this moment, it was as though his soul had left his body, and was constantly spreading outwards, affecting the entire Yanhuang Peak. Such spiritual waves were constantly vibrating. Every tree, every blade of grass, every bug, and even every grain of sand on Yanhuang Peak were all enveloped by his spiritual power, and could be seen clearly. It was as though he had an extra eye on his body. Everything that his spiritual power covered was in his grasp. Divine sense. Xia Ping instantly understood that this was the power of divine sense. At this moment, he had already stepped into the fulfillment realm. His spiritual power had already transformed to a whole new level. Once one reached the fulfillment realm, one could completely control the power of divine sense. This was like opening a third eye in the human body. Some people called it the opening of the sky eye. However, this was not a real eye, but an illusory eye. It was an eye created by divine sense. It could allow one to observe the entire world from 360 degrees, without any blind spots. For a martial artist, the soul was extremely important. Only a strong soul could control the violent and turbulent spiritual power. If an ordinary person had spiritual power, but did not have a soul that could control the spiritual power, then there would only be one outcome, and that was to explode from the overload of spiritual power. Their body would explode, and they would die. After advancing to the fulfillment realm, the space of the Purple Mansion was twice as big as before. The spiritual power produced was simply unimaginable. If one did not have the power of divine sense to control it, they would be like a soldier encountering a riot. Their body would not be able to withstand it. Is this divine sense? Xia Ping closed his eyes. He felt that the space of his Purple Mansion was twice as big as before. The spiritual power was surging. It was like a sea encountering a violent storm, making crashing sounds. Such a huge amount of spiritual power, if it was an ordinary person, they would not be able to control it a long time ago. However, under the power of his powerful divine sense, it was as tame as a continuous stream. It was like there was a divine needle placed in the depths of the sea of the Purple Mansion. It stabilized all the spiritual power and completely controlled it. If I condense it into divine sense, it seems that ordinary illusions can't affect me at all. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. The power of divine sense was many times more powerful than ordinary spiritual power. One was equivalent to a liquid, while the other was equivalent to a mist. This was a qualitative change. If it was before, spiritual power would not be able to penetrate some ordinary matter. However, with the realm of divine sense, he could easily penetrate through. Even if it was a psychedelic array, he could clearly see through it. It would not affect him at all. Of course, that was only an ordinary psychedelic array. The universe was vast and endless. There would also be some tyrannical arrays that were enough to deceive divine sense. Even martial artists with divine sense would not be able to discover them. However, such arrays were very rare. Ordinary people would not be able to come into contact with them. It can actually affect the material world? Xia Ping was shocked. He found that his huge power of divine sense was slowly converging and condensing into one. Immediately, many weapons were arranged in the quiet room. For example, swords, spears, axes, and other weapons were trembling. It was as if an invisible hand had grabbed all of them and slowly lifted them up. Even the sand and soil on the ground were trembling. The surrounding air was distorted. This was not the effect of magic power. It was purely the power of divine sense. So that's how it is. The legendary sword immortal who could fly on a sword must have done it this way. Xia Ping suddenly realized. He finally understood how flying on a sword was. When a sword immortal was powerful to a certain extent, his divine sense could refine the flying sword. Then, he could directly fly on a sword and travel thousands of miles away. However, if he wanted to reach the level of flying on a sword at will, he probably would not be able to do it at the fulfillment realm. At the very least, he would need to be above the transcendent realm and wait for his divine sense to take another step forward. However, that was only for ordinary martial artists. For Xia Ping, who was many times more tyrannical than ordinary martial artists, his divine sense was extremely powerful. With just a slight movement, hundreds of weapons in the quiet room trembled and directly floated in the air. The next second, Xia Ping's divine will moved, and these weapons instantly flew out, like a sports car at full speed. Dong dong dong. Suddenly, these weapons stabbed into the wall as if they were piercing through tofu. In the air, there was a buzzing sound as the weapons trembled. Even these weapons made of ordinary iron could not withstand such power, and cracks began to appear on them. Such strong power. Xia Ping was shocked. If he could familiarize himself with the control of divine sense, he could instantly control hundreds of weapons and attack the enemy at the same time. This was equivalent to having hundreds of doppelgangers. Moreover, this was a long-range attack with endless power. Another few days passed. Xia Ping continued to familiarize himself with this new power and completely controlled his divine sense. He felt that after obtaining divine sense, his control over his magic power was even more superb. With just a thought, his magic power could transform into all kinds of birds and beasts. He could also condense them into 18 kinds of weapons. Moreover, they also had the sharpness of weapons. This was the fulfillment realm. It represented that a martial artist had complete control over his magic power. This was the realm of perfection, returning to the original state. If ordinary people wanted to reach this realm, they would need to spend at least a few decades. But now, with the help of the yin-yang pill and the 5 elemental liquids, Xia Ping saved a lot of time. Moreover, after gaining control of divine sense, Xia Ping found that the golden crow of hell cells in his body had also been unsealed. In total, he had unsealed 1,000 golden crow of hell cells. This made the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body even thicker. It kept refining his body, getting closer to the golden crow of hell body. It was as if every drop of blood had turned into flames. Chapter 1125. Although everyone thought that Xia Ping would definitely lose, for some reason, Xia Ping did not feel that he would lose at all. It had been a long time since he had suffered such a serious injury. Even though this was in the virtual world, it was not much different from the real world. This was a spiritual projection, as if his real body had descended. At this moment, he felt the ghostly aura from LV Wenho. The blood in the depths of his body seemed to be boiling, like lava, and a terrifying heat burst out from his body. Wisps of flames came out from the 108,000 pores on his body, as if he had turned into a man of fire. Stimulated by the ghostly body, the golden crow of hell cells in Xia Ping's body also seemed to have awakened. The will in the depths of the cells seemed to have gone berserk, as if a divine beast had awakened. What? With a swoosh, LV Wenho had wanted to follow up his victory and finish off Xia Ping with his halberd, but his body gave him a terrifying warning. He instantly retreated several kilometers, looking at Xia Ping from afar. His eyes flickered. What exactly happened? LV Wenho took the warning from the ghostly body very seriously. This was not an aimless shot, but the instinct of a warrior. This instinct had saved him countless times, and this time was no exception. Although he did not know what had happened, in order to avoid danger, it was better to stay away. It would not be too late to attack after he found out what had happened. The ghostly body. I didn't expect there to be such a martial arts method in the world. A glimmer of light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. He was very excited, as if he had seen a new world. Boom! He operated the technique in his body, and the blood in his body seemed to have turned into lava, rumbling. Countless scarlet flames emerged from his body, and with his body as the center, the area within a radius of several hundred meters was covered in lava. At this moment, a pair of huge black wings appeared on his back, all condensed from black flames, emitting evil, corrosive, ancient, chaotic, and other auras. His eyes turned into flames, spinning like chaos. Golden light shot out in all directions, containing the swastika symbol. Vaguely, there seemed to be a divine bird singing, stretching its black wings. It was like a sun in the sky, rising from the east, covering the land within a radius of dozens of miles. Even his body had undergone a huge change. It was as if he was condensed from flames. Dense and mysterious golden patterns had appeared on his skin, seemingly containing a strange and tyrannical power. This was Xia Ping's golden crow hell physique. Initially, Xia Ping did not realize that as his cultivation level continued to increase, the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body had become thicker and thicker, and he had long been able to condense the golden crow of hell body. Now, after the stimulation of the ghost god's body, the infernal golden crow cells in his body were greatly threatened. Xia Ping was suddenly inspired and completed the evolution. Although the infernal golden crow physique was only at the small success stage, it still contained divine might, like a divine body. What a powerful force! Xia Ping clenched his fists. He felt as if he had transformed into a golden crow of hell. Every single cell in his body was condensed from fire energy. As long as the flames on his body were not completely extinguished, he would not die. He could even devour the flames of the world to heal his wounds. It was as if he had reached an immortal state. Although this was just an illusion, it was enough to prove how powerful this state was. He could feel that he could control the flame energy between heaven and earth with a casual move. Shi Yan's control over flames was several times stronger than before. The essence of the sun, the flame of life, the flame of earth spirit flame, and the flame of drought demon in the depths of his body all started to burn. They were like four energy sources, continuously providing him with a great amount of energy. No way. What happened to this kid? Many people were dumbfounded. Even through the screen, they could feel how powerful Xia Ping was. The flames seemed to be able to penetrate through space to attack. They felt as if their souls were being burned and stung. With Xia Ping as the center, the temperature within a radius of hundreds of feet was too high. Even the air was distorted from the heat. A large amount of lava appeared on the ground, which kept bubbling. Could it be that he has also developed a special constitution? His whole body is exploding with flames, his blood is turning into lava, a pair of wings on his back, there are birds singing, and the sun is shining in the sky. What kind of constitution is this? Could it be the fire god body, the lava body, or the immortal phoenix body? No, It is completely different from the fire constitutions in the legends. I have never heard of it before. I can also feel that this special characteristic is stronger than any fire constitutions I have seen before. Could it be that there is another powerful holy constitution in the world? The universe is extremely vast and there are countless mysteries. It isn't strange for it to appear. Many Qiankuan sect's elders were all astonished. Even though they had seen many powerful holy constitutions with different abilities, they had never seen a constitution like Xia Ping's. However, they could sense how powerful this kind of constitution was. It was constantly emitting destructive, burning, darkness, and other auras. It was as if it was a war machine born for destruction and destruction. Even Hell's Azura was nothing more than this. But when these people took a closer look, they could sense an exuberant vitality. It seemed to contain powerful life force, able to bestow endless vitality to all living things. This strange feeling of life and death, heaven and hell, fusing together made them feel extremely uncomfortable. However, they also felt that it was extremely compatible with nature. It was extremely mysterious. Damn, this damned Xia Ping has also developed a special constitution. It seems that its might isn't inferior to the ghost god body. How can ordinary people like us live? What's the point of becoming so powerful all the time? This is too exaggerated. Even if he is a monster, he shouldn't be so monstrous. Is the disciple of a saint able to scare people like this? The many outer sect disciples were all stunned. This was especially so for Ku Er and the others. Their faces turned green. They originally thought that the gap between them and Xia Ping and LV Wenho wasn't that big. But from the looks of it now, the difference was like heaven and earth. He was able to beat them up without activating his special constitution. Look at what happened now. As expected, you still have great power in your body. If not, it would be meaningless. Come and fight. LV Wenho's eyes shone with a terrifying light. The aura on his body became even more berserk. The indistinct ghost god behind him became even clearer. It was like it wanted to break open the door from the depths of hell. With a halberd in hand, it would slaughter all enemies in the world. With a swoosh, his body was like a cannonball. He instantly appeared in front of Xia Ping and slashed down with the halberd. This really had a hint of the beginning stages of splitting the heavens and earth. Xia Ping was expressionless. His eyes were like spinning suns, blazing with flames. He suddenly stretched out his hand like a golden crow's claw, grabbing the halberd just like that. Dong! The two forces clashed crazily but instantly turned invisible. What? Chapter 1126. What kind of temperature is this? LV Wenho's eyes widened. He had never felt such a terrifying heat before. It was as if he was close to the sun. He was like a moth flying into a flame. The terrifying, scorching flames instantly enveloped his body, as if to evaporate all the water on his body. The soil on the ground was instantly evaporated, turning into a dry land without a single drop of water. If this went on, he would definitely be roasted to death by the fire and turned into a dried corpse. Even his ghostly body seemed to be unable to withstand this scorching energy. It was as if this heat could instantly burn his ghostly power and melt his energy. Dodge! Out of the instinct of a warrior, LV Wenho immediately wanted to give up the Fangtian halberd in his hand and retreat. He had to keep a certain distance from this dangerous person. But it was already too late. Xia Ping attacked in that instant, punching the air, shaking it and causing it to tremble. This punch was a flame fist condensed from flames. It was like a blow from the fire god, as fast as lightning. Not good. LV Wenho's expression changed drastically. He felt a fatal crisis. With a boom, he felt his abdomen being pierced by a flame fist. Even the defensive power of the ghostly body could not withstand it. A large amount of flames even appeared in his abdomen. In an instant, his body seemed to be melted into magma, and the power of every inch of the flames covered every cell in his body. Moreover, he felt that the power of the flames had even begun to burn his soul. Boom! LV Wenho revealed a pained expression. His body could not withstand it at all. He flew backward in the air with a hole in his abdomen. He flew directly for dozens of kilometers. Even the flames enveloped his body. As he flew, they gradually devoured his physique. From a few meters tall, to 2 meters tall, 1 meter tall, and then to the size of a watermelon, he continued to burn. After flying for dozens of kilometers, the entire ghostly body was finally burned to ashes by the flames. With a gust of wind, he disappeared from the virtual battlefield just like that. I lost. In the next second, LV Wenho's soul returned to his body. He was sweating profusely, and there was a trace of shock in his eyes. It seemed that he did not expect to lose the competition so quickly. With just one strike, his opponent had pierced through his abdomen. The flames that seemed to have emerged from the depths of hell instantly burned his body into ashes. Even if he wanted to resist, there was nothing he could do. He was completely killed in one hit. It was extraordinary. Even my ghost god body can't withstand it. Just what kind of flame power is this? LV Wenho was very shocked. He originally thought that by relying on his ghost god body, he could sweep away all enemies and sweep away everything in his way. He didn't expect that he would encounter such a terrifying monster right after arriving at the Cosmos faction. That monster was only at the Violet Palace realm, yet he was able to challenge someone of a higher cultivation realm and beat him to the point where he didn't even have the strength to fight back. I will not admit defeat. Next time, I will definitely defeat you. Although he had lost, LV Wenho clenched his fists tightly. He wasn't dejected at all. Instead, his eyes were filled with battle intent. This was the LV family's disciples. The more they fought, the stronger they became. The match is over, Xia Ping wins. At this moment, in the virtual world, a mechanical voice rang out in midair. The system had determined that LV Wenho and the others had been eliminated, and Xia Ping had won this round. With a swoosh, Xia Ping also left the virtual world. His soul returned to his body. My God, what exactly happened just now? Just a single strike actually defeated LV Wenho and pierced through his ghost god body. This is too violent. What kind of physique is that? Why is it so terrifying? Even the ghost god body can't block it. I'm not sure, but I can be sure that the power is absolutely terrifying. Even through the screen, I can feel the destructive power of that flame. It's simply born for destruction. That's right. The ghost god body was slowly burned into ashes by the flame. Luckily, this is the virtual world. If this was the real world, LV Wenho would have been killed by a single punch. Many of the Cosmos faction's disciples were stunned. They originally thought that both sides would continue fighting for another 300 rounds until both sides were exhausted. Only then would the victor be decided. But who would have thought that Xia Ping could defeat LV Wenho with just a single strike? This greatly exceeded their expectations. Wait, if LV Wenho lost the match, doesn't that mean that Xia Ping won? He defeated 10 by himself. Someone heard the virtual system's voice and immediately thought of this question. That's right. The battle earlier was too intense. I almost forgot that Xia Ping was fighting against 10 alone. My God, he can even win like that. He's simply a monster. I can only say that as expected of the saint's disciple. We can't compare at all. No wonder even the Dark North Saint made an exception and personally recruited him as his final disciple. Without a doubt, he's a seed of the saint. After this battle, who would dare to doubt Xia Ping? He will undoubtedly be the #1 expert among the new students. Just a new student. I reckon that it won't be long before the positions of our senior brothers and sisters will be threatened. Many of the Cosmos faction's disciples were completely convinced. Martial arts and literature were different. There was no number 1 in literature, but there was no number 2 in martial arts. Because, whether one's martial arts was strong or not, one would know after a single battle. If one's strength was weak, it would be impossible for them to play tricks in an intense and dangerous battle. There was nothing better than a battle to prove the difference in strength. Previously, there were people who said that Xia Ping was arrogant to fight against 10 alone, but now, no one dared to say this. The iron-like facts had proven this point. Invincibility wasn't just nonsense. The eyes of many of the Cosmos faction's senior brothers and sisters flickered. They could also feel the danger of the latecomers overtaking them. Xia Ping might only be at the Purple Mansion realm now, but it was only a matter of time before he advanced to the Fulfillment realm and Divine realm. We actually lost even when fighting 10 against 1. This is simply too embarrassing. We didn't lose unjustly. Even LV Wenho, who grasped the ghost god body, was killed in a single punch. We didn't lose unjustly either. That's true, but if this continues, we will still lose. Are you guys willing to accept this? Of course not. So what if he's the saint's disciple? We aren't trash who can only watch his back view advance. Next time, in the next battle, we definitely won't lose so badly. Ku Er and the others clenched their fists and gritted their teeth. As the geniuses of various planets and clans, they were used to being invincible since young. Who would have thought that they would encounter such a huge setback after coming to the Cosmos faction? It was impossible for them to surrender just because of a single defeat. All of them stood up and planned to cultivate. They had to catch up to this monster, Xia Ping, and never submit. The disciples this year are truly not bad. Chapter 1127. A few days later. Yanhuang Peak, in a quiet room. Xia Ping won thousands of yin-yang pills from Ku Er and the others. He did not exchange them for anything, but used them to cultivate. He planned to break through to the fulfillment realm in one go. After the battle with LV Wenho and the others, he felt that he had touched the threshold of the fulfillment realm. With the help of thousands of yin-yang pills, he was confident. Whoosh! Xia Ping swallowed the yin-yang pills one by one. He circulated the pure yang immortal art. These yin-yang pills were immediately refined into a large amount of medicinal qi, which surged into every corner of his body. Then, these medicinal qi were quickly converted into spiritual power, greatly increasing the spiritual power of the Purple Palace. Because of the increase in spiritual power, the Purple Palace space also expanded and opened up. After an unknown period of time, when the spiritual power reached the peak, there was a boom. Xia Ping felt his body shake violently. This sound was like a huge bang that split the sky and earth. Xia Ping felt that his soul had undergone an earth-shattering change. It was as if his soul had left his body and was constantly spreading, affecting the entire Yanhuang Peak. This kind of spiritual fluctuation trembled unceasingly. Every tree, every weed, every bug, and even every grain of sand on Yanhuang Peak were all enveloped by this spiritual power. Even the slightest detail could be seen clearly. It was as if he had an extra eye on his body. Everything covered by the spiritual power was under his control. Spiritual power. Xia Ping instantly understood that this was the power of spiritual power. At this moment, he had already stepped into the fulfillment realm. His spiritual power had transformed to a new level. Once one reached the fulfillment realm, one could completely control the power of spiritual power. This was like opening a third eye in the human body. Some people called it the opening of the sky eye. However, this was not a real eye, but an illusory eye. It was an eye formed by spiritual power. It allowed one to observe the entire world from 360 degrees without any blind spots. For martial artists, the soul was extremely important. Only a strong soul could control the violent and turbulent spiritual power. If an ordinary person had spiritual power, but did not have a soul to control it, then there was only one outcome. That was to explode from the spiritual power and die from the explosion of the body. After advancing to the fulfillment realm, the space of his purple palace realm had doubled in size compared to before. The amount of magic power that was produced was simply unimaginable. If he didn't have the power of his consciousness to control it, he would be like a soldier encountering a riot. His body wouldn't be able to withstand it at all. Is this the divine sense? Xia Ping closed his eyes. He could feel that the space in his Zifu had doubled in size compared to before. His magic power was surging violently. It was as if the sea had encountered a violent storm. Such a huge amount of magic power, if replaced by an ordinary person, they would have long been unable to control it, but under the tyrannical power of his spiritual sense, it was tame like a continuous stream. It was as if there was a sea-stabilizing divine needle placed in the depths of the Zifu Sea, stabilizing all the spiritual energy and completely controlling it. If I condense my divine sense, it seems that ordinary illusions can't affect me at all. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. The power of divine sense was many times stronger than ordinary spiritual force. One was equivalent to a liquid, while the other was equivalent to a mist. This was a qualitative change. If it was before, his mental power would not be able to penetrate some ordinary matter, but with the realm of divine sense, he could easily penetrate it. Even if it was a psychedelic array, he could clearly see through it, and it would not affect him. Of course, that was just an ordinary psychedelic array. The universe was vast and endless. There would also be some tyrannical arrays that could deceive divine sense. Even martial artists with divine sense wouldn't be able to discover them. But such arrays were very rare, and ordinary people wouldn't be able to come into contact with them. It can actually affect the material world? Xia Ping was shocked. He found that his huge power of divine sense was slowly gathering and condensing into one. Immediately, many weapons were arranged in the quiet room. For example, sabers, swords, spears, axes, and other weapons were all trembling. It was as if there was an invisible hand grabbing all of them and then slowly rising. Even the sand and soil on the ground were trembling, and the surrounding air was distorted. This wasn't the effect of magic power, but purely the power of divine sense. So that's how it is. The legendary sword immortal who could fly on a sword probably did it this way. Xia Ping suddenly realized. He finally knew how to fly on a sword. When a sword immortal was strong to a certain extent, his divine sense could refine the flying sword, and he could directly fly on a sword and travel thousands of miles away. But to reach the level of flying on a sword, fulfillment realm probably wouldn't be able to do it. Perhaps it would at least need to be above the divine power realm. But that was only for ordinary martial artists. For Xia Ping, who was many times stronger than ordinary martial artists, his current divine sense was extremely powerful. He just moved slightly, and hundreds of weapons in the quiet room trembled and directly floated in the air. In the next second, Xia Ping's divine sense moved, and these weapons instantly flew out like a sports car at full speed. Dong dong dong. Suddenly, these weapons stabbed into the wall as easily as piercing tofu. In the air, there was a buzzing sound and constant trembling. Even these weapons made of ordinary iron couldn't withstand such power, and a trace of cracks appeared. So strong. Xia Ping was shocked. If he could familiarize himself with divine sense, he could instantly control hundreds of weapons and attack the enemy at the same time. This was equivalent to having hundreds of doppelgangers. And this was a long-range attack, with infinite power. Another few days passed. Xia Ping constantly familiarized himself with the new power and completely controlled his divine sense. He felt that after obtaining divine sense, his control of magic power was even more superb. With just a thought, his magic power could transform into all kinds of birds and beasts, and he could also condense into 18 kinds of weapons, and they also had the sharpness of weapons. This was the fulfillment realm, which represented that a martial artist had complete control of magic power. This was the realm of perfection, returning to the natural state. If ordinary people wanted to reach this realm, they would need at least decades of effort. But now, with the help of the yin-yang pill and the 5 elemental liquids, Xia Ping saved a lot of time. And after controlling divine sense, Xia Ping found that the golden crow hell cells in his body were also unsealed. In total, he unsealed 1,000 golden crow hell cells. This made the golden crow hell bloodline in his body thicker, and it constantly tempered his body, getting closer to the golden crow hell body. It was as if every drop of blood had turned into flames. Chapter 1128. The next day, in a living room of Yan Huang Peak. There was a lot of food on the dining table. They were all medicinal cuisines made from various precious herbs and ferocious beast meat that contained a huge amount of energy. When ordinary warriors ate it, they would be able to strengthen their vitality and increase their body's potential. It would have a subtle transformation effect and could even strengthen their magic power. These were all medicinal cuisines cooked in the Universe Sect's canteen. However, most disciples had to pay Universe dollars to eat the food in the canteen. Each meal cost a lot, at least 100 Universe dollars. If accumulated over time, it would be a huge number. However, Xia Ping was a disciple of a saint. Hence, the food in the Universe Sect was free. He could eat as much as he wanted. There were many benefits. Munch munch, Xia Ping wolfed down the food. There were already hundreds of plates on the table. It was equivalent to eating dozens of people's worth of food. However, his stomach didn't seem to get any bigger. This was because he had awakened the golden crow of hell's stomach. At this moment, his stomach was like a furnace. When the medicinal cuisines entered his stomach, they would be quickly digested and turned into vitality. Hence, his appetite was different from ordinary people. He could be called a super big eater. This feels great. Xia Ping finished the last dish. He took a deep breath and felt his stomach warm. His body was filled with energy. The food could be considered as making up for the deficit of vitality in his body and replenishing his energy. Oh, right. How's the restoration of the myriad stars? Xia Ping asked Corinne. It's very smooth. It's still in the process of restoration. I reckon it won't be long before we can truly start the myriad stars, Corinne said excitedly. That's good. Xia Ping was also looking forward to it. He wanted to pilot this saint-grade spaceship and roam the universe. Oh, right. Since you've advanced to the fulfillment realm, it's time to accept some missions to earn yin-yang pills. Otherwise, you might not be able to advance to the divine realm even if you spend 100 years just by breathing in the world's vitality. Corinne reminded him. Xia Ping had already consumed all the yin-yang pills in his previous cultivation. It could be said that he didn't have a single pill on him. He was already a pauper. Of course, he still had 200 million Universe dollars. This amount of money could also be used to buy large amounts of precious elixirs. Advancing to the fulfillment realm would also be rewarded by the sect with 1,000 yin-yang pills. Even so, he still had to think of ways to earn more yin and yang pills. After all, he couldn't just reach the divine power realm. There were still treasure refinement realm, true fire realm, golden elixir realm, and so on. If he wanted to become a saint, he would need boundless resources. This would be unimaginable. What missions can I earn yin-yang pills? Xia Ping asked. He knew that in the process of his closed-door training, Corinne was not idle. Relying on the authority given by Xia Ping, he could inquire about all kinds of information about the Qiankuan faction at will. It can be said that Corinne already has a very good understanding of Qiankuan faction. He is equivalent to a super butler. No matter what question is asked, he can immediately answer it. The missions of the Heaven and Earth faction are also divided into grades. They are easy, dangerous, nightmare, and death. Corinne said, the lower the degree of danger, the less yin and yang dan can be obtained. Like ordinary outer court disciples, even if they complete a simple mission, they can only get 1 yin and yang dan. But because the mission isn't dangerous, it's a good choice for those who are cautious. But let's ignore these ordinary people for now. Over the past few days, I've repeatedly compared and finally picked out a good mission. You can take a closer look. With a ding-dong, a virtual image immediately appeared in front of Xia Ping. A death mission? Seeing this virtual image, Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. The entire image was in a blood-red state, and there was an exclamation mark, indicating the danger of this mission, reminding the person who accepted the mission not to act rashly. According to Corinne, the death rate of easy-level mission is 10%, dangerous-level mission is 30%, nightmare-level mission is 50%, but the death rate of death-level mission is more than 99%. Once they accepted this mission, they would almost certainly die. The content of the quest was very simple. There was only one requirement, and that was to head to the Blood Soul continent and obtain a soul stone. The reward was 100,000 yin and yang pills. However, such a mission had a 99% mortality rate. The number of people who had accepted this mission could be counted on one hand. Why is this mission so dangerous? Xia Ping looked at Corinne and asked. According to my investigation, the Blood Soul continent is a unique land among the 6 major starfields ruled by the Qiankuan faction. Corinne said in a deep voice, this land was not formed naturally, but was created by a saint in ancient times, named Blood Soul Saint, using great magic power. The sky is round and the earth is square. The area of this land is extremely huge, with a diameter of 3 light years. 3 light years? Xia Ping was shocked. A diameter of 3 light years? The area of such a land was simply unimaginably huge. It must be known that the distance traveled by light in a second was 300,000 kilometers, so how much distance could light travel in a year? Such a distance was simply an astronomical figure. It was estimated that the area of the Cloud Realm was far less than this Blood Soul continent. The most crazy thing about this continent is that it is rich in soul stones. Corinne said. What? Xia Ping was shocked. The so-called soul stone was a kind of strange stone that could enhance soul power. It must be known that in order to enhance soul power, in addition to natural aptitude, it was only possible to break through the martial arts realm or go through the tempering of life and death battles. However, soul stones could easily enhance human soul power without the need to go through life and death crises. One could imagine how great the attraction of this precious ore was for humans. It seems that the Blood Soul continent must have been destroyed. Xia Ping said. There were so many precious soul stones on this continent. In the face of the wolves in the universe, as well as the saints who were eyeing covetously, it was simply impossible to resist. And this was the saying, an ordinary man is innocent, but a treasure becomes a crime. No, the Blood Soul continent is still alive, and there are countless creatures living there, with a population of more than 1 trillion. Corinne shook his head. Why? Xia Ping asked. He was very curious. With such precious resources, it was actually not enslaved. It was too strange. Because there are unique creatures living on this continent. They call themselves the Soul Race. Corinne continued, these people of the Soul Race are said to be the descendants of the Blood Soul Saint. They are born with powerful soul power, and they are proficient in mental power attacks, killing people invisibly. Many universe martial artists entered the Blood Soul continent and were instantly killed by these people of the Soul Race, unable to escape. Chapter 1129. No, that's not right. Xia Ping shook his head. There are so many strong people in the universe and so many races. No matter how strong the Blood Soul mainland is, how can it resist the ferocious army of the universe? Putting everything else aside, just the sages alone are enough to destroy an entire continent countless times over. He felt that the Blood Soul mainland's secret was not just this. You're right. Corinne nodded. This continent was created by the Blood Soul Saint. There are unique rules of heaven and earth here. Like the cloud realm, cultivators above the divine realm are not allowed to appear. Once one appears, he or she will be struck by lightning and be destroyed instantly. There was once a lightning punishment realm cultivator who broke in, but he could not even resist for 2 hours and was struck to death by lightning. Countless martial artists in the universe are terrified of this place, and it is listed as an absolute forbidden area. It revealed the information it had obtained. What about the sages? Did they not do anything? Xia Ping asked curiously. Corinne said, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, or maybe the saint has some kind of fear towards the Blood Soul Saint behind the Blood Soul continent. Anyway, this news has been blocked by a mysterious force. So far, not much information has been leaked. The Blood Soul mainland still exists, unharmed. Xia Ping touched his chin. Blood Soul Saint? Could it be that this sage is still alive? He felt that it was unlikely. If the Blood Soul Saint was still alive, it would not have been so easy for the Qiankuan sect to rule over the 6 major starfields. I'm not sure. According to the news on the internet, the Blood Soul Saint disappeared. Some people say that he is not dead and is waiting for a chance to resurrect. Anyway, the Blood Soul Saint is very mysterious. Corinne said in a deep voice, I have also heard of the Blood Soul Saint's fame from Old Master. It is said that even among the saints, he is one of the strongest existences. Old Master admires him endlessly. He is a special existence. Although this place is in the 6 major starfields of the Qiankuan sect, it seems to be listed as a forbidden area by many forces. Many sacred sects have joined forces to block it, not allowing martial artists in the universe to enter and leave. Only the disciples of the sacred sects can pass the trial mission and enter. Apart from them, no one else is qualified to enter. You can enter because of the Qiankuan sect. It looked at Xia Ping. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. Blood Soul Saint, he finally remembered this name. Even though he didn't know how long it had been since he disappeared, he was still feared by countless saints and was listed as a taboo. One could imagine just how terrifying the Blood Soul Saint was before he disappeared. However, in this case, one could imagine the secrets of the Blood Soul mainland. It was definitely something that even sages would value. With a ding-dong, the system's voice quickly disappeared. Ding! At this moment, Xia Ping's communicator rang. Is it Master? Xia Ping immediately saw that the name on the communicator was that of Dark North Saint. He had exchanged contact details with Dark North Saint before. However, he didn't expect that Dark North Saint would contact him at this time. Xia Ping immediately accepted the call, and Dark North Saint's virtual projection appeared in front of him. You just accepted the death level mission and planned to head to the Blood Soul continent? Dark North Saint was straightforward and didn't beat around the bush at all. Yes, Master, you found out so quickly. Xia Ping was shocked. He didn't expect his master to find out about this matter so soon after he accepted the mission. It was really too fast. The matter of you accepting the death level mission alarmed some elders, and they reported it to me. Dark North Saint nodded and briefly explained the reason. Is Master trying to stop me from accepting this mission? Xia Ping asked. No. Dark North Saint shook his head. Actually, even if you didn't accept this mission, I plan to let you go to the Blood Soul continent to train. There are big secrets in that place, and it will be very beneficial for your growth. Moreover, your soul power is very strong, and you can even withstand the spiritual pressure of the heaven and earth wall. I believe that the many spiritual secret techniques in the Blood Soul continent are not very dangerous for you. Chapter 1130. Master, why are you here this time? Xia Ping looked at the Dark North Saint curiously. Although the Qiankuan sect looks like the sun in the sky now, there are still many enemies in the dark. The Dark North Saint said in a deep voice, and since you've become my disciple, I'm sure many forces have their eyes on you. You might encounter unexpected danger when you're out on a mission this time. If you're killed by someone of the same generation, it only means that you're not skilled enough. But if some old farts disregard their reputation and secretly attack you, I definitely won't tolerate it. At this point, he looked at Xia Ping. So, when you're out on a mission this time, I'll give you a talisman. If you encounter any unstoppable danger, you can use it immediately. It's equivalent to an attack from a sage. But there's only one. I hope you use it wisely because it'll be gone after you use it. Understand? Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, the Dark North Saint waved his hand. What? Instantly, Xia Ping was shocked because a wormhole suddenly appeared in front of him. Immediately, a golden talisman traveled through space and arrived in front of him. The golden talisman floated in mid-air, filled with a chaotic aura. It was extremely mysterious. Although he already knew that sages were unbelievably powerful, this move still gave him a huge shock. It was as if space did not exist for sages. They could open up space and travel through wormholes by themselves. At this level, they could survive freely in the universe without the need to breathe oxygen and could withstand most of the dangers in the universe. Thank you, Master. Xia Ping immediately recovered and quickly took the talisman. This was a huge trump card. With this talisman, he wouldn't have to worry about being killed by some old monsters. No wonder there were so many benefits to becoming a sage's disciple. With the protection of a sage as a master, it would be difficult to die even if one wanted to. A few days later, Xia Ping boarded the spaceship prepared by the Qiankuan sect and headed to the Blood Soul continent. In these few days, he made a lot of preparations to go to the Blood Soul continent. First, he stored a large amount of food and many weapons in his space ring in case of emergencies. He even put the moon god in his space ring as a trump card. As for the language problem in the Blood Soul continent, Xia Ping wasn't worried because the Blood Soul continent also used the universal language. Therefore, he didn't have to worry about language problems. Lord Xia. Suddenly, a staff member on the spaceship said to Xia Ping, "We've arrived at the Blood Soul continent. It's just ahead." Xia Ping looked outside. Through the virtual projection, he could clearly see the scene outside the spaceship. Immediately, a boundless land stretched across the universe. It was like an eggshell, enveloped by a huge air shield. There was a huge sun in the distance, and the sunlight shone down, revealing a myriad of colors. Lord Xia. The staff member explained, the Blood Soul continent is a unique continent. The atmosphere above it has a mysterious power that produces a strong gravitational force. Without enough power, spaceships can't escape. That's why the living beings of the Blood Soul continent are basically unable to come out. Of course, the most important problem is that this continent restricts the strength of cultivators to divinity realm at most. Therefore, they do not have the power to break through the restrictions of this continent with their own strength. Xia Ping nodded. Suddenly, he saw that in the distance, in the sky above this continent, huge space battleships had appeared. They were like moons, surrounding this continent. What are these things? Xia Ping asked curiously. They are space battleships sent by the major Saint-class sections. They are equipped with star destroyers that have the power to destroy a planet with one shot. There are thousands of them, and they are responsible for monitoring this continent to prevent the natives of the Blood Soul continent from causing trouble. The staff member said in a deep voice, of course, at the same time, they are also to prevent outsiders from invading this continent. Without the permission of the Saint-class sects, no outsiders are allowed to enter. This is a very strong line of defense. Lord Xia, I've sent them a message, and they have allowed us to pass. However, due to the restrictions of the mission, we can only send you to this place. Xia Ping nodded, indicating that he understood. After that, Lord Xia will enter the Blood Soul continent in a small spaceship. When you come out, you will also be relying on this small spaceship. I hope that Lord Xia will not let this spaceship be damaged, or it will be very difficult for you to come out. The staff member reminded, of course, Lord Xia is the disciple of the great ancestor. Even if the spaceship is damaged, you can contact us for help. When that happens, we will have people send in spaceships to pick up Lord Xia. At this point, he was very jealous. This was the treatment of the disciples of the sages. If it was an ordinary disciple, no one would care about him or her. Anyway, if the spaceship was damaged, it would be his fault. There was no way to send people to rescue him. They could only die of old age in the Blood Soul continent. Alright, I got it. Xia Ping went to a warehouse of the battleship. There was a small spaceship that had been prepared for him. This small spaceship was prepared by the Qiankuan sect. It was a means of transportation to enter the Blood Soul continent. However, this small spaceship only had the function of transportation. It did not have any attack or defense system. Even so, this small spaceship was very valuable in the universe. Let's go to the Blood Soul continent. Xia Ping boarded the small spaceship and immediately issued an order to the spaceship system. Whoosh! Immediately, the spaceship left the space battleship and flew toward the Blood Soul continent. At the same time, it also activated the optical camouflage system, changing the appearance of the entire spaceship. It turned into a meteor and instantly entered the Blood Soul continent. Just as Xia Ping entered the Blood Soul continent, many space battleships in the distant sky above the Blood Soul continent seemed to have received this signal and learned of the news. There is actually someone who dares to enter the Blood Soul continent. Is he looking to die? He doesn't know that there is a 99% death rate in there. Is this kid crazy? He is not crazy. He is Dark North Saint's personal disciple, Xia Ping. It is the young man who has caused a lot of commotion recently. I didn't expect him to dare to enter the Blood Soul continent. I can only say that he is the disciple of the sage. Dark North Saint might have given him some treasures. He is not afraid of the living beings in the Blood Soul continent at all. Naturally, he can live like a fish in water. Damn it. It is good to have a good master. He can do whatever he wants in such a dangerous place. You can't be jealous. It is your fault that you are not talented. Everyone discussed. They all knew that Xia Ping, a disciple of the sage of the Qiankuan sect, had entered the Blood Soul continent. Chapter 1131. In the depths of the universe, inside a blood-colored planet, there was a huge and majestic palace. At this moment, there was a 10-meter-tall middle-aged man sitting on the throne in the palace. Beside him was a blood-red saber that was dozens of meters long. As he stood on the ground, he immediately gave off a violent bloody aura. It was as if the entire palace had turned into a blood-red hell, with countless evil spirits wailing in agony. There were 3 scars on his face, making him look extremely hideous. He also had a broken right arm. It was as if this body had experienced countless life and death battles and was weathered by wind and frost. If there were any almighty beings in the outside world who saw this middle-aged man, they would definitely be scared half to death. This was because this was the famous Mad Slaughter Saint in the universe, a saint-level expert. Legend has it that he was bloodthirsty and crazy. He once used a bad mood as an excuse to slaughter 3 planets, killing hundreds of billions of living beings, leaving nothing behind. That was why he was known as Mad Slaughter. He was revered by countless races like a god of death. However, due to some unforeseen event, he had disappeared for a long time, and many people had almost forgotten about his reputation. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this moment, 6 or 7 uninvited guests suddenly appeared in the palace. They all came to the blood-colored palace. These people came in all shapes and sizes. Some had fierce faces, some were bald, some were nuns, some had only 1 arm, and some had only 1 eye. In short, they did not look like good people. They were the infamous assassins in the universe, known as the Seven Kills Gang. They were all experts at the divine power realm. Lord. However, these people did not dare to be arrogant in front of the mad slaughter saint. They did not even dare to breathe loudly because the person in front of them was a saint. He could kill them dozens of times with just a breath. Do you know why I called you here? The mad slaughter saint asked. I don't know, but as long as you tell us, we are willing to die. The Seven Kills Gang were all extremely obedient, not daring to show their usual arrogant expression. They were also scared to death because they did not come to this place willingly. Suddenly, they were drinking in a tavern, but in the next second, they were captured and brought to this damned place without any ability to fight back. Not bad, a wise man submits to circumstances. Mad Slaughter Saint was very satisfied. I don't want to beat around the bush with you. I've heard of the reputation of your Seven Kills Gang before. You're a famous assassin. Since your debut, you've killed countless people. Your mission completion rate is 100%. So, I personally came to find you. I want you to kill someone. Hearing this, the faces of the Seven Kills Gang turned green. Reputation was harmful. If not for their reputation, how could they have been targeted by this famous mad butcher saint? Now, they had fallen into the hands of this saint who was many times more ferocious than them. They did not know what would happen to them. Who do you want to kill? The Seven Kills Gang and the others asked. They did not ask why Saint Kwang Tu did not personally kill the other party with his strength. Since Saint Kwang Tu did not make a move, there was naturally a reason that he did not want to say. That was why the Mad Slaughter Saint found small characters like them. It was foolish to ask these questions. They were also afraid of angering the Mad Slaughter Saint, so they were straightforward. Perhaps you have also heard of his name, Xia Ping. Mad Slaughter Saint said indifferently. Xia Ping. Hearing this, one of them was shocked. Could it be the disciple of the Dark North Saint, Xia Ping, who has caused a lot of commotion recently? Does Lord want to kill him? But he's not just an ordinary disciple. They all looked at Mad Slaughter Saint strangely. Yes, that kid is an ordinary disciple, and he has no enmity with me. But the mistake is that he is the disciple of the Dark North Saint. Mad Slaughter Saint snorted coldly, his eyes revealing a terrifying cold light, as if it could pierce through the void, causing the Seven Kills Gang to shiver. It was as if they were in the abyss of hell, and they could take their lives at any time. Back then, the Dark North Saint came to find trouble with me for no reason. After fighting with him for 300 rounds, he cut off my right arm, and I have not been able to recover it until now. He touched his empty right arm, his hatred overflowing. For a saint, regrowing a severed arm was a trivial matter, but the right arm that was cut off by the Dark North Saint could not be recovered no matter what he did. There seemed to be a mysterious and tyrannical force preventing the cells in his body from regenerating. As a swordsman, the right hand was his strongest part, and he had cultivated for many years. But now that it was cut off by the Dark North Saint, it was equivalent to crippling a part of his strength. For a saint, this was simply a great humiliation. In that battle, if he had not escaped quickly, he would have been killed by the Dark North Saint. One could imagine that his hatred for the Dark North Saint could not be washed away by the water of the three rivers. But in terms of strength, Mad Slaughter Saint was not a match for the Dark North Saint before, not to mention that he had lost an arm, so he was even less of a match. Therefore, he had no hope of revenge in this life. Therefore, he wanted to take revenge on the children and grandchildren of the Dark North Saint, and even those related to him. The problem was that the Dark North Saint had lived for too long. His relatives were basically all dead, and he was alone. Even if there was still the Qiankuan sect, no matter how many disciples of the Qiankuan sect died, the Dark North Saint would probably not feel heartache. Mad Slaughter Saint had never been able to find a chance to take revenge. Who would have thought that Xia Ping would suddenly appear out of nowhere and become the last disciple of the Dark North Saint? This made the Mad Slaughter Saint overjoyed, and thus he made Xia Ping his target. Even if he couldn't kill the Dark North Saint, he had to let the Dark North Saint experience the pain of losing his son. He had to let this last disciple of his die in his hands, and make this old bastard Dark North sad for the rest of his life. I have already set up a restriction on your bodies. Thinking of this, the Mad Slaughter Saint's gaze fell on the 7 of them, and said, "Don't even think about escaping. If you dare to escape, or if you don't complete the mission, it will immediately explode. Either that Xia Ping dies, or you die. Of course, if you can complete the mission, you will be able to obtain benefits, great benefits." He gave them a sweet date after hitting them with a stick. The faces of the 7 of them were ashen. They knew that they couldn't escape the palms of the Mad Slaughter Saint. "Alright, but where is that Xia Ping? If he is at the headquarters of the Qiankuan sect, we won't be able to enter and kill him." The 7 of them asked, indicating that if Xia Ping stayed in the Qiankuan sect, they wouldn't be able to find an opportunity to assassinate him. "Don't worry, I've already received news that Xia Ping has already left the Qiankuan sect and went out to complete a mission. This is a great opportunity." The Mad Slaughter Saint sneered, "Without the protection of old bastard Dark North, he's dead for sure." "Where is he?" "Blood Soul Continent." "What?" Chapter 1132. Swoosh. The small spaceship dashed towards the Blood Soul mainland. At that moment, the spaceship activated its optical camouflage system to disguise itself as a meteorite and moved quickly towards the Blood Soul mainland. The reason being that the Blood Soul mainland seemed to be hostile towards people from the universe and was extremely xenophobic. Once they knew that there were foreign invaders, they would definitely come out in full force. Therefore, the appearance of the spaceship had to be disguised. Otherwise, it would definitely be surrounded by the natives of the Blood Soul mainland. By then, it would be impossible to escape even if it wanted to. What a strong pressure! Xia Ping immediately felt a strong tremor after the spaceship entered the atmosphere of the continent. It was as if there was a terrifying pressure coming from all directions, almost crushing the spaceship into an iron ball. If the spaceship was not made of special materials that could withstand the strong pressure, it would have been crushed into a piece of paper by the pressure of the atmosphere. Ordinary meteorites that entered the continent would be destroyed quickly, turning into a ray of light and falling to the ground. Oh no, the spaceship is out of control. All of a sudden, Xia Ping felt that the spaceship seemed to be unable to withstand the surface gravity of the Blood Soul mainland and was falling towards the ground at a crazy speed. Even the system could not control it. Boom! Like a meteorite, it plummeted at an unimaginable speed. Xia Ping had no choice but to resign himself to fate. He hoped that the natives of the Blood Soul mainland would not notice him. Otherwise, there would definitely be a tragic fight. On an open space in the depths of a primeval forest in the Blood Soul mainland, a lady in white was lying on the ground. Her entire body was covered in blood and she was panting heavily. Her face was pale and it was obvious that she had suffered a serious injury. She could not even move a single step. In front of her, 7 or 8 men in black robes appeared. They surrounded the woman in white in an instant, so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. There was no gap for her to escape. These people were a little different from ordinary humans. There seemed to be unique mysterious golden patterns on their foreheads that seemed to contain a mysterious power. The surrounding air was affected and distorted. If Xia Ping was here, he would definitely know that they were the natives of the Blood Soul mainland. They were from the Soul clan. Lu Rulan, I'd like to see where else you can escape to. Surrender now. That's right. You've suffered a blow from the Hall Master of the Huaining City branch. There's no way for you to escape. If you still dare to resist stubbornly, don't blame us for continuing to destroy you. These black-robed men stared at the white-robed woman with ferocious expressions. The contrast between the two temperaments was simply tempting. It made people want to give her to Rulan. Perhaps there were not many men in this world who could resist her charm. If not for the secondary palace master of Huaining City, they might not have been able to control Yuan. They would have wanted to press this saintess, who was once high and mighty, onto the ground and enjoy her. After all, Lu Rulan was not just an outstanding beauty. She also had a heavenly soul body. It was said that if a powerhouse were to undergo dual cultivation with her, their soul power would continuously increase. A genius like that was hard to come by even in 1,000 years. Therefore, the secondary palace master coveted her. He did not want Lu Rulan to die just like that. He wanted her to become his exclusive property. Lady Lu, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Come back to Huaining City with us. Bao Mingyuan and the rest went forward and wanted to capture Lu Rulan. Even if I die, I won't let you guys get what you want. Lu Rulan's beautiful eyes were filled with determination. With a swoosh, she immediately pulled out a sharp dagger and was about to slash it across her fair neck. Oh no! Bao Mingyuan and the rest had a drastic change in expression. If Lu Rulan were to die here, they might not be able to complete the mission given by the secondary palace master. All of them would be severely punished, and their lives would be worse than death. However, at that moment, a giant meteorite fell from the sky at an extremely fast speed, tearing through the sky. Dong! The meteorite landed on the ground and created a deep pit with a diameter of a few kilometers. It almost flattened the surroundings, and a terrifying force spread in all directions. What? Bao Mingyuan and the rest were shocked. They could not withstand the force and were sent flying. They spun a few times in the air before crashing hard on the ground. Chapter 1133. What's that? Soon, Bao Mingyuan and the others came to their senses and quickly stood up from the ground. They immediately saw a huge, strange object in the deep pit in the distance. It looked like a ball, and its entire body was made of metal. Under the illumination of the sun, it gave off a dazzling radiance and looked extremely strange. I don't know. I've never seen such a thing before. This thing fell from the sky. Could it be a meteorite? If it's a meteorite, we'll be rich. It's said that there's meteorite iron in it, which is extremely precious and priceless. Some people once got a small piece of meteorite and became rich overnight. Now that there's such a big piece, I wonder how much it'll be worth. Bullshit. If a meteorite wants to enter our blood-soul mainland, it will be crushed into pieces. It can't be this big. If I'm not wrong, this should be a means of transportation for the extraterrestrial demons. It's called a spaceship. What? This is a means of transportation for the extraterrestrial demons? Suddenly, Bao Mingyuan and the others were shocked and stared at the strange, huge metal object. Even Lu Rulan did not want to die at the moment. She was also staring at the metal object. Because to the aborigines of the blood-soul mainland, the extraterrestrial demons were synonymous with terror. Since ancient times, the extraterrestrial demons had invaded the blood-soul mainland countless times and caused great massacres. They also fought against them and paid a heavy price. But in the end, they won and drove the extraterrestrial demons out. Even so, the extraterrestrial demons would descend from the extraterrestrial demons from time to time. Every time they descended, they would cause great massacres and countless ordinary people were killed or injured. But in recent years, the number of extraterrestrial demons descending had decreased. Moreover, the blood-soul mainland was extremely vast. Even if they really descended, they might not come near Huaining City. Therefore, they had never seen a real extraterrestrial demon before. Suddenly, they were a little nervous. Crack! At that moment, the metal sphere suddenly split open and a small hole appeared on its surface. Then, a figure emerged from the hole and walked out. The figure walked out and waved his hand. With a whoosh, the metal ball disappeared just like that, leaving only a huge pit on the ground. Oh my God, it's really an extraterrestrial demon. But it seems like there aren't many of them. There's only one. This is our luck. the extraterritorial demons are our enemies. If we can kill one, Soul Palace will give us a great reward. Back then, Huaining City's palace master killed an extraterritorial demon to become a branch palace master. It was a meteoric rise. If we can kill that outworld fiend, we'll be able to enjoy a lifetime of glory and splendor. When Bao Mingyuan and the rest saw this figure, their eyes turned red and they exuded a murderous intent. Compared to Lu Rulan, killing the extraterrestrial demons was more important. After all, capturing Lu Rulan would only gain the favor of Huaining City's sub-palace master. However, if he killed an outer realm evil devil, he would gain the favor of Soul Palace's main palace master, and the rewards would be incomparable. Moreover, Lu Rulan could no longer escape, so they were not worried about where she could run to. These are the real extraterrestrial fiends. Lu Rulan's gaze was very complicated. The Lu family had been annihilated because of the extraterritorial fiends. Although it was a baseless accusation, she still did not know how to deal with the appearance of the extraterritorial fiends. However, she felt that it was very strange. The outer realm evil devil did not seem to have a dense demonic aura like in the legends. Apart from looking a little different from them, there was not much difference. The figure was none other than Xia Ping. Have we arrived at the Blood Soul mainland? Not bad. Fortunately, we landed in a desolate forest. If we had landed in a native city, it would have been a little troublesome. Xia Ping looked around and immediately got out of the spaceship. Then, he put the spaceship into his spatial ring and looked around. He immediately saw that there seemed to be quite a number of people around him. These should be the natives of the Blood Soul mainland, right? I didn't expect to see natives here. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. Through the Qiankuan sect's intelligence, he knew that the Blood Soul mainland was very unfriendly to people from the extraterritorial fiends. Once they met, they would basically fight to the death. There was no reason for them to compromise. No matter what, people from the universe were basically invaders. It was just like how the white people had invaded the North American continent back then. They had slaughtered more than half of the Indians. There was no way they would have a good impression of them. He could sense that the power of these people was not simple. They were at least at the Purple Mansion realm. The leader even had the cultivation of the Fulfillment realm. He was not an ordinary person. He reckoned that he would be considered an incredible expert in the Blood Soul mainland. Kill! Suddenly, Bao Mingyuan and the others looked at each other. They could see each other's killing intent. They took advantage of the fact that the extraterritorial fiend had just landed and was still very careless. They immediately killed it. Secret skill, spiritual shock wave. They formed a seal with their hands and the patterns on their foreheads lit up. Immediately, a strong spiritual energy exploded from their bodies, exploding with their bodies as the center. The spiritual energy of these 7 or 8 people actually fused together and blended with each other. Their strength multiplied, and a terrifying wave blasted towards Xia Ping. This was the spiritual secret skill of the natives of the Blood Soul mainland. Many martial artists in the universe had come to the Blood Soul mainland because they could not withstand such a spiritual secret skill. They were instantly killed, and their souls were shattered. Obviously, they wanted to kill this extraterritorial fiend in an instant to avoid trouble. Moreover, Bao Mingyuan and the others were also very confident in themselves. They sensed that this extraterritorial fiend did not seem to be so strong that they could not be defeated. Even if they could not kill the other party, they could severely injure this extraterritorial fiend. Huh! Such a strong spiritual attack. Xia Ping immediately sensed that these natives of the Blood Soul mainland were going to kill him. Their spiritual waves were like waves crashing over, full of destructive power. He had never seen such spiritual power in his life. Even among the many races in the universe, there were not many who could compete with the soul race in terms of spiritual power. Martial artists of the same level would probably die if they were to encounter such a spiritual attack. Moreover, the speed of the spiritual attack was extremely fast. It was invisible and colorless, and it was impossible to dodge. Dong! In the blink of an eye, Bao Mingyuan and the others' attacks blasted over and bombarded Xia Ping's body. Impossible. Bao Mingyuan and the others thought that they would be able to see the extraterritorial fiend bleeding from the 7 orifices. But now, they saw that he was unscathed and as firm as a rock. Chapter 1134. Why is this happening? The extraterrestrial demon is completely fine. This is ridiculous. It's impossible. This must be an illusion. That's right. If we join forces, even a cultivator in the divinity realm would be affected. But he's completely fine. How is this possible? He's definitely playing dumb. Bao Mingyuan and the others were scared out of their wits. Earlier, they had thought that their attacks would be able to deal a great deal of damage to the Outworld Fiend Demon. Unexpectedly, the Outworld Fiend Demon was completely unscathed. In fact, it even had a blank look on its face, not knowing what was happening. This kind of expression was a huge blow to them. Therefore, they were unwilling to accept this reality and thought that they might be hallucinating. After all, in the Blood-Soul mainland, illusion was also an extremely powerful force. A true spirit master could make people fall into an invisible and colorless illusion and die in their dreams. This. Lu Rolan, who was far away, was also shocked. She was also considered a peerless genius. Of course, she knew that the extraterrestrial demon in front of her was completely fine. It was terrifying that he was unscathed after suffering such a huge spiritual attack. Even the Lord of Huaining City would not be unscathed after suffering such an attack. After all, Bao Mingyuan and the others were considered experts in Huaining City. The destructive power of these experts working together was simply unimaginable. They could kill a large number of people in an instant. Moreover, they had also formed a spiritual array between them, fusing their spiritual energies together. Thus, the resulting power was many times stronger than if they were alone. It could only be said that the legendary extraterrestrial demon was indeed more terrifying than the rumors. It was simply unimaginable. It's indeed a good spiritual attack. Xia Ping nodded. Although the opponent's spiritual attack was something he had never seen before, it was nothing compared to the pressure brought by the Qian Kun wall. Putting aside the fact that his soul was suppressed by the World Tree, his soul power alone was more than 100 times stronger than ordinary warriors. It was not something that these natives could shake. Therefore, to him, these mental attacks were no different from a gentle breeze blowing on his face. Go, kill this extraterrestrial demon. Go, kill this extraterrestrial demon. Secret spiritual skill, scorching sky burning flames. Bao Mingyuan and the others roared. They once again used their most powerful psychic secret arts. This time, their faces were flushed red as they activated the most powerful psychic energy in their bodies. Their mental powers fused together, and there was almost a qualitative improvement. Terrifying mental waves immediately enveloped Xia Ping's body, spreading out for several miles. In this area, the air produced a strange fluctuation, as though it had distorted into a unique spiritual space. Is this an illusion? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He immediately sensed that these spiritual waves were enveloping him. It was as if his body was surrounded by terrifying flames, and he had nowhere to run. His skin also felt hot, as if he was about to be incinerated by the flames. Even a fulfillment realm cultivator wouldn't be able to escape from these flames. They would be burned alive. Although this was only an illusion, it was incomparably real. It really felt like his body was being burned by flames. This was the terrifying part of spiritual illusions. They could directly place one's body in flames, giving one the illusion that one's body was being burned. When your soul feels that you are being burned by fire, then you are really being burned by fire. When your soul thinks that you are already dead, then you are really dead. This was a sure-kill psychic secret art of the soul race. However, this was useless to Xia Ping. He possessed the golden crow of hell's bloodline, so fire energy was just a great supplement to him. Moreover, these spiritual waves were like ants trying to shake a tree to Xia Ping, who possessed such powerful soul energy. He could clearly sense that this was just an illusion. Break! Xia Ping stood where he was and shouted angrily, using the 8 heavenly dragons' music. Dong! In an instant, a terrifying sound wave was produced with Xia Ping's body as the center. It was like the roar of a heavenly dragon, containing the might of a dragon and powerful spiritual waves. So scary. Lu Rulan, who was far away, widened her beautiful eyes. She felt that a mere roar made her feel like she was facing an unparalleled heavenly dragon, and she was just a lowly ant. Under this roar, she could only prostrate herself on the ground in submission. If even Lu Rulan felt this way, Bao Mingyuan and the others, who were directly facing this attack, felt like they were about to explode. Their spiritual attacks were instantly torn apart like paper. This kind of spiritual backlash caused them to be severely injured. Even the sound wave, which had solidified, caused the air to solidify, producing a shock wave that could be seen with the naked eye. The shock wave hit the 8 of them directly. Pfft! Immediately, they could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Their internal organs were severely injured. 3 or 4 weaker ones exploded on the spot. They were torn apart and turned into a pile of minced meat. This is bad. This extraterrestrial devil is too scary. We have to run. Report to the Hall Master immediately. A terrifyingly powerful extraterrestrial devil has descended. We have to inform the Hall Master. Otherwise, this will be a catastrophe. A catastrophe. Bao Mingyuan and the other 3's expressions changed. They could clearly feel how terrifying this extraterrestrial devil was. It was many times scarier than the legends said. With just one touch, they had completely collapsed. They did not even have the strength to resist one move from the other party. If they continued to fight, they would definitely die. As for killing this extraterrestrial devil and gaining merit, they immediately gave up on the idea. Now, their only thought was to run for their lives. They had to run back to Huining City and report to the City Master and the Hall Master. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. They ran away quickly. They did not even care about Lu Rulan, who was on the ground. To these people, Lu Rulan would definitely die facing this terrifying extraterrestrial devil. She would be torn into pieces by this extraterrestrial devil. There was no way she could survive. Trying to run. You can't. It was impossible for Xia Ping to let these enemies escape. If they escaped, they would bring a large number of enemies with them. After killing the young ones, the old ones would come. He did not know how much trouble it would cause him. Hence, he had to kill all of them. He stood on the spot without even moving. He flicked his finger lightly. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. In an instant, 3 or 4 solidified flame forces flew out like lasers. Bao Mingyuan and the others had just escaped a few hundred meters away when their bodies were hit. In the next second, their bodies were torn apart and they were even surrounded by a ball of red flames. Chapter 1135. Their bodies are so fragile. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He sensed that while the soul race members had terrifying mental strength and could kill without leaving a trace, their bodies seemed to be weaker than regular warriors. His attack just now was not very powerful. It was just a small test, but these people were killed instantly. Their bodies exploded on the spot as if they were porcelain vases. Perhaps this was the weakness of the soul race. Their mental strength was strong, but their bodies were weak. They were good at long-range attacks and group battles, just like sorcerers. But their soul energy is indeed stronger than regular people. Xia Ping instinctively activated the ability to devour souls and devoured the soul energy of the 7 or 8 dead natives. Immediately, he felt his consciousness increase and become stronger than before. This was equivalent to absorbing the soul energy of 20 to 30 humans of the same realm. One could say that the soul race members were indeed gifted. Their souls were naturally stronger than other living beings. Too strong. Lu Rulan, who was far away, was dumbfounded when she saw this. She could tell that the extraterritorial devil's martial arts realm was at the fulfillment realm, which was similar to her before she was injured. However, when faced with 7 or 8 experts of the same realm, he killed them like he was chopping vegetables. He was extremely brutal. She thought that even if she was at her peak, she would have to pay a heavy price to kill these 7 or 8 experts. One could imagine how terrifying the extraterritorial devil was. She could only say that he was indeed an evil devil. He was extremely terrifying. No, I can't stay here. I have to escape. Lu Rulan wanted to escape immediately and leave this dangerous place. She still wanted revenge, so she could not die here for no reason. Whoosh! However, just as she was about to move, Xia Ping's body flashed and appeared next to Lu Rulan, blocking her way. Lu Rulan's heart shuddered. She felt that she was in trouble. She immediately felt hopeless and wanted to close her eyes and wait for death. She wanted to wait for this evil devil to kill her. She did not expect to die at the hands of an evil devil instead of those assassins. She was unwilling. Girl, what's your name? Xia Ping looked down and asked. What? Lu Rulan lifted her head and was shocked. Not only did this evil spirit not kill her, it even asked for her name. Was this still the cruel and evil spirit that had killed countless people? No, that's not right. This is definitely a trap. There must be some kind of plot against me. But this way, I might have some time to breathe. She replied, I'm Lu Rulan. Good name. From now on, you are my slave. If I tell you to go east, you cannot go west. If I tell you to walk a dog, you cannot walk a horse. Do you understand? Xia Ping immediately announced this decision. Slave. When Lu Rulan heard this, she immediately felt a sense of hopelessness. As expected of an extraterrestrial devil. He was up to no good. This bastard did not want to kill her. Instead, he wanted to use this opportunity to torture and humiliate her. The means of the demons were more terrifying than he had imagined. Sometimes, living was more painful than dying. She had heard of the fates of many of her sisters who had fallen into the hands of evil spirits. She was afraid that they would use all kinds of evil methods to turn her into a real woman. If this was a normal situation, she would rather die than fall into the hands of an evil spirit and suffer such humiliation. However, she had a blood feud on her back. She also had to avenge her father, mother, and friends. Therefore, she could not die now. Even if she were to suffer the most terrifying humiliation in this world, she could not die. Thinking of this, Lu Rulan's determination became firm. She seemed to be unafraid of death. Yes, yes, master. Lu Rulan gave in. Her face was red. Although it was to bear the humiliation, as a saintess, she still found it hard to accept becoming an evil spirit's slave. She had tried her best to say these words. She was so ashamed that she wanted to die. Since when had a saintess fallen to such a state? She could only submit to an evil spirit. Who were those people who were chasing you just now? Xia Ping asked. They're from Huining City's Soul Palace. Hearing this, Lu Rulan gritted her teeth. She was filled with hatred. She recalled the scene of Lu family being destroyed by the Soul Palace, as well as the pain her family suffered before they died. Soul Palace? Xia Ping learned from the Heaven and Earth sect that there was no country in the entire Blood Soul land. Instead, it was divided into huge cities. Each super city governed several smaller cities and countless villages. In reality, a super city could also be considered a country. However, it did not have a country's name. The city master was the highest ruler of the region. However, the organization that stood at the top of countless super cities was the Soul Palace. The Soul Palace's sphere of influence covered every corner of the Blood Soul land. Its branches were located in every super city. It was considered the city's superorganization and was detached from the outside world. The greatest enemy of the universe's martial artists was undoubtedly the Soul Palace. Every operation to annihilate the universe's martial artists was initiated by the Soul Palace. As for Huaining City, it could be the super city in this region. Why were they chasing you? Xia Ping looked at Lu Rolan. He wanted to know the reason. Because my Lu family found a soul stone mine, Lu Rolan said in a deep voice. Lu Rolan said in a low voice. She did not want to continue hiding the truth of the Lu family's annihilation. Soul stone mine. Xia Ping was shocked. He knew that soul stones were a special mineral in the Blood Soul land. Only such a special land could produce such a mysterious stone. However, it was not easy to obtain soul stones even in the Blood Soul land. Soul stones were considered as precious treasures like diamonds and gold in this place. If one could find a soul stone mine that produced a lot of soul stones, becoming rich overnight was not enough to describe the shocking degree of wealth. Although Lu Rolan did not explain in detail why she was being chased by the people from the Soul Palace, even an idiot would know what was going on. It could only be that some big shot had his eyes on the soul stone mine. However, the Lu family was a hindrance. As the saying went, a man's wealth would arouse the envy of others. They were powerless, yet they seized the treasure. Wasn't that courting death? One could imagine the outcome. The entire Lu family was destroyed because of a groundless accusation. Moreover, to cover up their crime, the entire Lu family was killed. No one was spared. That was how big shots did things. They were ruthless and left no room for negotiation. Lu Rolan was the direct descendant of the Lu family. She was also a heavenly soul with shocking talents. Of course, she had become a thorn in the flesh of the mastermind. If Lu Rolan were to escape, she would definitely become a huge threat based on her talents. Therefore, she had to die for the big shots to be at ease. Chapter 1136. Where's the soul stone mine? Xia Ping asked immediately. He had no interest in what happened to Lu Rolan, but he was very concerned about the location of the soul stone mine. His goal in coming here was to find the soul stone. Previously, he only wanted to find a soul stone. Who would have thought that he would receive news of a soul stone mine as soon as he came down, giving him the chance to obtain the entire mine? This was a huge stroke of luck. If he missed this chance to get rich, he would definitely be struck by lightning. These extraterrestrial devils are the same as those bastards. Hearing Xia Ping's question, Lu Rolan gritted her teeth. She knew that the extraterrestrial devils mostly came for the soul stones on the Blood Soul continent. For the soul stones, the extraterrestrial devils had started countless wars. They were famous for this. However, she thought about it and realized that this might be an opportunity. After the battle just now, Lu Rolan knew how terrifying this extraterrestrial devil was. It could practically defeat Fulfillment Realm opponents. Moreover, this was only the strength it had displayed so far. Perhaps it still had trump cards that could deal with Divine Realm cultivators. If she told the extraterrestrial devil the location of the mine, she would definitely have an intense conflict with Huaining City's Soul Hall. According to this extraterrestrial devil's identity, it was definitely the type that would fight to the death with Huaining City's Soul Hall. There was no reason for them to coexist, and there was no need to worry about the two forces colluding with each other. This way, perhaps she could borrow the hand of this extraterrestrial devil to help take revenge on Huaining City's Soul Hall master. If she was lucky, she could even kill all the executioners in one fell swoop. Even if this extraterrestrial devil could not do it, she could still kill some of them. It could be considered as taking revenge for her family members who died. No matter what the outcome was, this would not do her any harm. It was worth a try. Didn't those bastards say that her Lu family was colluding with extraterrestrial devils? Now, she, Lu Rolan, would collude with those people. For revenge, she would do anything. She would even sell her soul to the devil. Thinking of this, she finally made up her mind. The mine is in a valley 100,000 miles away from here. However, that place is very hidden. Without someone to lead the way, you won't be able to find it even if you spend a lifetime. Lu Rolan vaguely pointed out her importance. Without her help, they would not have been able to find the location of the mineral vein. Xia Ping stroked his chin. He did not doubt Lu Rolan's words. After ascending to the fulfillment realm and gaining control over his mind power, he discovered that his soul and the world tree's coordination with each other had increased his perception of the mind. If the other party was lying or had hostility or killing intent towards him, he would immediately be able to sense it. However, he didn't sense any trace of lying from the girl's words. Although Xia Ping didn't know why this girl was so eager to help, he didn't care. The most important thing was to obtain this soul stone mine. 100,000 miles away. Alright, let's go. Lead the way. Xia Ping did not use a flying ship. If he were to use a flying ship casually on the Blood Soul continent, he would definitely be discovered by the natives here. At that time, conflict would be unavoidable and he might even be besieged. In the past, some universe warriors had come to the Blood Soul continent because they were too unscrupulous. As a result, they were besieged and killed. Therefore, with such a precedent, not many people dared to drive a spaceship after coming to the Blood Soul continent. This was a taboo. Although 100,000 miles was indeed a very long distance, it could also be considered a kind of cultivation. He was not in a hurry. He wanted to use this time to slowly understand this world. This was not necessarily a bad thing. But I can't walk now. I'm injured. Lu Rolan frowned. She had already been severely injured before, and she had been running for days. Her injuries had worsened. Even if Bao Mingyuan and the others did not chase after her, she would probably die soon. Now, she could barely move her body. Even the slightest movement would cause intense pain all over her body. Injured? Take this bottle of recovery fluid. It will heal your injuries very quickly. Xia Ping searched his spatial ring for a while and immediately took out a bottle of recovery fluid. This was a very famous healing fluid from the Heaven and Earth sect. It contained precious medicinal essences. Even if a person was seriously injured, a bottle of this healing fluid could recover in a night. Of course, it was not cheap. Recovery fluid? Lu Rolan took the bottle. She was stunned. She did not know what it was, but she knew that with her current physical condition, there was no need for the other party to harm her. If he really wanted to kill her, he could have done it with a palm. Why would he do anything else? She immediately opened the bottle and gulped it down. So cool. Immediately, Lu Rolan felt countless waves of cool air surge out of her body, surging towards her injuries. Many of the injuries on her body rapidly healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Her strength and soul power also recovered by more than half. Although she had not completely recovered, she was much better than before. She would probably be able to recover quickly after a while. Is this the power of an evil devil? That's terrifying. Lu Rolan was shocked. Even though she was the saintess of the Hall of Souls, she had never seen such a magical medicine. Such a serious injury could actually recover so quickly. If everyone had a bottle, wouldn't they be invincible? How could they fight? For a moment, she was a little confused. If the Outer Realm evil devils were so terrifying, how did the Blood Soul mainland win all the wars back then? Are you done? Stand up, let's go, said Xia Ping. However, at this moment, Lu Rulan blushed. I don't have many clothes on me. Can you help me find some? Only now did she realize that after several days of fleeing and fighting, her clothes were almost in tatters. It was as if the fabric on her body would fall off at the slightest movement, revealing more than half of her body. That impressive figure and pair of long legs were so tall and enchanting that it made people drool with desire. In front of a stranger, even if the other party was an outer realm evil devil, she was still embarrassed. What clothes? I still think you look the best when you're naked. Xia Ping rubbed his chin and sized up Lu Rulan, clicking his tongue in admiration. Beast! Lu Rulan wanted to bite this pervert to death. She already knew that the outer realm evil devils were shameless, but she did not expect him to be so shameless. He did not even bother to hide it. However, you're my slave. It's fine if I see you, but if other men see you, I'll be very unhappy. Xia Ping suddenly walked up to Lu Rulan. Chapter 1137. 10 minutes later. At this moment, Lu Rulan glared at Xia Ping with her big eyes, feeling both angry and frustrated. She initially thought that Xia Ping was planning to go berserk and lose her chastity. She did not expect the extraterrestrial devil to not touch her, but tossed out a strange piece of clothing. According to the extraterrestrial devil, this kind of clothing was called a cheongsam in the extraterrestrial world. Lu Rulan did not pay much attention to it at first. Having a piece of clothing was already good enough. However, she only realized how shameful the cheongsam was after she put it on. This was because the clothing was too close-fitting, and it complemented her figure. Moreover, her figure was extremely hot, with curves all over her body. Once she put it on, her curves were all in all the right places, and all the good points of her body were on full display. She was the kind that could make a man vomit blood. Not bad, not bad. It looks like it suits you. Xia Ping sized her up. Not bad, my foot. Lu Rulan's pretty face was flushed, and she wanted to die from embarrassment. She wanted to slap this pervert. How could he design such a shameless clothing? She wondered which pervert did it. It was clearly designed to satisfy a man's desires. One should know that society in the Blood Soul mainland was still very conservative, just like in ancient times. Women in this mainland would basically dress as tightly as they could. Normally, she would only wear a white robe to cover her entire body. She had never worn such shameless clothing before. Unless she was a professional woman who seduced men and fawned over them as a profession, why else would a woman wear such a thing? Do you have any other clothes? Lu Rulan bit her lip. She felt that wearing such clothes was a public execution. If anyone who knew her saw her in this outfit, she would lose all her dignity. No. In our world, women all dress like this. If you're not satisfied, you can only wear rope. Xia Ping waved his hand, indicating that he did not have any other clothes. Lu Rulan could not imagine that most women in the world of the devil would wear such clothes. Didn't that mean that women in the devil's world would end up pitifully, and all of them would be treated as such? Moreover, what did he mean by only wearing rope? Could rope be considered as clothes? Was this not just a prop, but also a rein to tie up horses and calves? Wait, could it be that this shameless demon said that he would tie up women? Heavens, this is not just a demon, it's simply a devil, the kind that is evil to the extreme. Lu Rulan's face was as red as a tomato when she imagined the scene. Her head was almost smoking. She would rather die than become like that. She could only wear a rope or something. It was more humiliating than death. Sure enough, it was an evil devil. The world of evil devils was too terrifying. Of course, if you really don't want to, you don't have to wear it. Xia Ping touched his chin and gave his suggestion. No need, I'm very satisfied with this dress. Lu Rulan rejected him decisively. Compared to that kind of ending, these clothes were like heaven. She did not want to end up like that even if she was beaten to death. Right, do you have any mental secret arts? Can you teach me a few of them? Xia Ping asked curiously. He felt that since Lu Rulan was a Soul Palace saintess, she naturally knew many mental secret techniques in this world. If he could learn a few, he would definitely have a few more killing moves. In fact, this was one of the reasons why he came to the Blood Soul continent. Of course, I know mental secret techniques, but I can't teach them to anyone. Lu Rulan said in a deep voice, it's not that I don't want to teach them, but I can't even if I want to because our mental secret techniques are obtained from the Soul Palace. To prevent the secret techniques from being leaked, everyone who learns mental secret techniques will set up a mental seal in their brain. If someone interrogates them, they will immediately self-destruct and die. That's why until now, the mental secret techniques of our Blood Soul continent have not been leaked. Xia Ping nodded. In fact, he had searched for similar information. Although the success rate of this mission was very low, there were too many people who entered the Blood Soul continent. Over time, there were actually some who could pass the mission. However, even if that was the case, not many of those who passed the mission could obtain the mental secret techniques of the Blood Soul continent. Previously, he was wondering why this happened. Now that he heard Lu Rulan's explanation, he understood the reason. It turned out that there was a mental seal. No wonder the secret techniques could not be leaked. In other words, as long as I can go to the Soul Palace, I'll be able to learn mental secret techniques? Xia Ping's eyes flickered. You're thinking of attacking the Soul Palace? Lu Rulan immediately saw through Xia Ping's intention. I advise you to give up on this idea immediately. The Soul Palace's branch in every major city is heavily guarded. There's also a seal formation inside that's strictly checked. If you're discovered, you'll be surrounded immediately and killed by the mental seal, and your soul will be destroyed. Moreover, the inheritance of the branch isn't considered high-level. The real high-level secret techniques are still in the Soul Palace's headquarters. However, that place is even more heavily guarded with countless experts and a bunch of divine power realm cultivators. That place is basically a tiger's den. Even in the previous wars with the extraterrestrial devils, the main hall has never been breached. She felt that Xia Ping, an extraterrestrial devil, was basically seeking death by having designs on the Soul Palace's main hall. Divine Power Realm. Xia Ping clenched his fists. The Fulfillment Realm and the Divine Power Realm were completely different. One could say that the difference between the Fulfillment Realm and the Divine Power Realm was several times greater than the difference between the Purple Mansion Realm and the Fulfillment Realm. The Fulfillment Realm only needed to condense Divine Sense to advance. However, in the Divine Power Realm, one had to condense a Divine Power Talisman and completely master a Martial Dao Divine Power to break through. Once a Martial Dao Divine Power was mastered, be it offensive or defensive power, it would be several times stronger than a concept. The power of Divine Power Realm could even change the world and affect the natural world. If it was a powerful Divine Power Realm martial artist, he could even change the world forever. For example, a martial artist who mastered Flame Divine Power could burn a mountain with a single punch, and it would not be extinguished for 100 years. Legend had it that there was a flaming mountain in the depths of the universe. It was a flame casually dropped by a powerful saint, and it burned for hundreds of millions of years without any signs of extinguishing until now. There were also those who mastered Ice Divine Power. With a single palm, they could freeze an entire planet. Even powerful flames could not melt it, and it would remain in a state of eternal ice. There was an abyss monster that slept every day. Its mere breathing created a never-ending spatial storm in the universe, destroying countless stars and forming an absolute forbidden ground. Chapter 1138. Is the security really that tight? Xia Ping was still unwilling to give up. He felt that there might still be a chance. If he could sneak in, he might be able to obtain the Soul Hall's inheritance without anyone noticing. After all, there weren't many precious techniques like mental secret skills even in the Heaven and Earth faction. Even if they had some, each of them was shockingly expensive and required a large number of yin and yang pills. Do you really think the Soul Hall is that simple? Lu Rolan said in disdain. Do you know why the Soul Hall can still control every region despite the Blood Soul mainland being so huge? Nobody can fight back. Xia Ping found it strange too. The Blood Soul mainland had a diameter of 3 light years. It was a shocking diameter and the surface area was unbelievably huge. On Earth in his past life, it was a difficult task to manage millions of square kilometers. He was constantly worried that the Emperor was too far away and some people would not listen to orders. Meanwhile, this place was much bigger than China in his past life. At the same time, there were no spaceships. It would take a few years to walk through a small region. It was too difficult to rule the entire continent. Why? Xia Ping asked. Because of the teleportation formation, Lu Rolan said in a deep voice. It's a super teleportation formation passed down from ancient times. It's distributed in every branch and also connected to the main hall. They can travel to all parts of the world in the blink of an eye. If anything happens to the main hall, the branches from all over the world can come to help. It's impossible for anyone to take them down one by one. If you want to take down the main hall, you'll have to be prepared to fight all the experts in the world. Her expression was solemn. Nobody knew better than her how terrifying the Soul Hall was. They were so powerful that no one in the entire Blood Soul mainland could compare to them. Alright, seems like it's not that easy to get the secret skill of this world. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. It's good that you know. Lu Rolan was relieved to see Xia Ping like that. She felt relieved that she had finally gotten rid of the evil devil's evil thoughts. Although she felt that the extraterrestrial fiend would be courting death by entering the Soul Hall, she had an unusual fear of the extraterrestrial fiend for some reason. If they let this bastard charge into Soul Palace, who knew what kind of big thing would happen? Even if her family was killed by Huaining City's Soul Palace master, it didn't mean she hated the entire Soul Palace. Therefore, no matter what, she didn't want the super faction that maintained the balance of this world to encounter trouble. But what's so special about this world's occult spirit arts? Xia Ping asked curiously. He wanted to know more about the differences between this world's occult spirit techniques and the outside world's. Hearing this, Lu Rolan did not plan to hide it. After all, Xia Ping only wanted to know what was so special about the spiritual secret skill. Even if she did not tell him, the devil would find out from somewhere else. There are actually 3 types of occult mind arts. Lu Rolan said, the first is an offensive secret skill that targets the soul directly. It's extremely domineering and aims to destroy the soul of a living being. This is also the one most people learn, and it's also the most widely spread. The second type is an illusion-type secret technique. It is said that some illusion-type masters are able to pass off the fake as the real thing and cause people to die in their dreams. They will be killed unknowingly. It is incomparably terrifying. However, to successfully learn it, one needs to be very talented. Not everyone can learn it. The third type is the rarest and the most terrifying, which is the control-type secret technique. She paused as she spoke. Control type? Xia Ping looked at Lu Rolan. That's what I've heard. Lu Rolan said, it is said that there's a powerful mind control secret skill in the depths of the Soul Hall. Once learned, one can control all living beings in the world, reducing them to slaves and carving a spiritual mark on them. They will be loyal for life and will never betray you. When the master dies, all the slaves will die as well. This is also the highest level mind control secret skill left behind by the Blood Soul mainland's god, the Blood Soul ancestor. It's said that back when Patriarch Blood Soul rampaged through the universe, he relied on this mind control technique to enslave powerful warriors one after another, forming a super army that swept through the universe. However, to this day, no one has been able to obtain this secret skill. It's only a legend. Her tone was regretful. What? Xia Ping's eyes flickered. If a mind control secret skill that could control martial artists really existed, how terrifying would the Blood Soul Saint be? Who could stop him? Moreover, they would be loyal and would never betray him. This was even more terrifying. Yes, I've heard about this from the old master, Corinne said. It is said that the Blood Soul Saint was too arrogant back then. He actually enslaved one saint after another, causing panic in the universe. Therefore, some powerful beings fought with the Blood Soul Saint. That battle was earth-shattering, and many saints died. The Blood Soul Saint's whereabouts were also unknown. It's possible that he was killed. It revealed some of the information that it knew. Xia Ping raised his brows. Didn't they say that he died after entering a secret realm in the universe? That's what they said to the outside world, but I don't know what actually happened. In any case, this matter was covered up by the saints. They probably wanted to erase this matter completely and disappear from the long river of history. Only the bigwigs would know about this. Don't tell anyone else, because this is a taboo. Corinne warned. He felt that this was a taboo, a secret between saints. If one was not powerful enough and was involved, they would not know how to spell the word death. If they were targeted by a saint, no matter how many lives they had, it would not be enough. Xia Ping fell into deep thought. If this was really the case, then the many forces monitoring the Blood Soul continent at all times were probably not just for the Soul Stone. Perhaps there were saints who wanted to obtain this supreme secret skill from the Blood Soul Saint. After all, it was a terrifying skill that could enslave saints. Once it was obtained, it might even be possible to unify the universe. If not for the Blood Soul Saint being too arrogant and accidentally exposing the fact that he could enslave saints, he might not have died and been besieged by all the saints. Of course, there might also be saints who hoped that this terrifying secret skill would disappear. Otherwise, it would definitely cause chaos in the universe. Moreover, was the Blood Soul Saint really dead? No one knew if such a terrifying sage still had any tricks up his sleeves, or if there was a way for him to resurrect. Xia Ping suddenly felt that the waters of the Blood Soul continent were deeper than he had imagined. Chapter 1139. Oh, right. Lu Rolan suddenly thought of something. She looked at Xia Ping and said, based on your current appearance, if you walk around the Blood Soul mainland, you will definitely be discovered by the Soul race. In order to avoid any accidents, I suggest you disguise yourself. Although Xia Ping looked about the same as a Soul race member, there were still some differences. If Soul Palace members saw him, they would definitely know that Xia Ping wasn't a Soul race member. What would happen then would not be clear. Don't worry, I have already considered this. That's why I prepared a disguise mask in advance. Xia Ping took out a mask that he had bought from the Heaven and Earth sect. It could change into the appearance of the major races in the universe. Of course, this was just an ordinary disguise mask. It could only change one's appearance, but not one's body. Even so, the physique of the Soul race was similar to that of humans. Changing his appearance was enough for him to blend in with the Soul race. What? Lu Rolan was shocked. Her beautiful eyes widened. She saw Xia Ping put on this strange mask and instantly changed into another appearance. He was completely an ordinary person from the Soul race. If she had not known about this extraterrestrial devil's true appearance, she probably would not have been able to tell. He was indeed an extraterrestrial devil. He actually had such a terrifying technique. She guessed that there were definitely many extraterrestrial devils like Xia Ping hiding in the Blood Soul mainland. However, this was good. At least Xia Ping would not cause any big trouble, and her relationship with the extraterrestrial devils would not be exposed. Although she wanted to use Xia Ping to help her take revenge, she did not want to become the Soul Palace's enemy. That way, there would be no place for her in the Blood Soul mainland. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound in the surrounding forest. Following that, there was the sound of branches breaking. At the same time, there was a violent aura that covered the sky. Xia Ping turned around and squinted his eyes. Immediately, he saw ferocious beasts appearing in the distance. They looked like ferocious tigers. They were huge and 3 meters tall. Their bodies were pitch black, as if they were made of steel. There was a single horn on their heads. A pair of vertical eyes emitted a murderous glint. Their sharp claws were placed on the ground, leaving shocking marks. Their fur was gorgeous. They were definitely ferocious beasts. Moreover, there were many of them. There were 20 to 30 of them. In the universe, there were 2 types of monsters in the world. The first type was the demonic beasts. They had intelligence, culture, and inheritance. They had even built huge countries. They were a super race that was not inferior to the human race. They could not communicate with other races. The so-called demon beasts had no intelligence, or rather, they had low intelligence. They could not communicate with other races. However, these beasts all had ancient bloodlines. They had powerful bodies and shocking bloodline abilities. Their battle prowess wasn't any weaker than any other race. Once they went berserk, even the human race would be wary of them. Moreover, they were numerous and could be found all over the universe. Oh no, this is a single-horned steel tiger. Demon beasts. Why? Demon bee. Demon beasts. Demon beasts. Lu Roland's expression changed when she saw the ferocious beasts. She could immediately tell that they were unique to the forest. In the Blood Soul continent, these beasts were also the overlords of the Blood Soul continent. In the primeval forest, these beasts were the true overlords. Race soul beasts were the best of the beasts. Their bodies were harder than diamonds. Normal attacks were like tickles to them. Every year, Ling, Ling, and Ling were the best of the beasts. Their bodies were harder than diamonds. Normal attacks were like tickles to them. What frightened the soul race the most was that because they had low intelligence, their souls were extremely violent, so ordinary mental attacks were useless against them. This was equivalent to taking away half of the soul race's combat power. It was easy to imagine the threat they posed to the soul race. It was a one-sided battle. Roar! The Ling, Ling, and Ling roared. Their eyes were filled with ferocity. They looked at Xia Ping and Lu Rulan and drooled. It was as if they had seen delicious food. Their 4 limbs stepped on the ground, and their bodies moved in an instant. Huge holes appeared on the ground, and their huge bodies rushed over like lightning. Along the way, it tore through the air, creating air explosions and creating monstrous gales that swept in all directions. Tree after tree was swept up by the gales and turned into piles of sawdust. In the blink of an eye, they were in front of Xia Ping and Lu Rulan. Their giant claws were like blades, slicing and tearing the 2 of them into pieces. Hell Demon Suppression Spear. Xia Ping took out the Hell Demon Suppression Spear. With his body as the center, a violent aura was generated. It was as if a demon god's aura had exploded. He gripped the Hell Demon Suppression Spear tightly and stabbed it at the beasts. Dozens of spear shadows appeared in the air. The spear's tip produced a spiral force that spun continuously. Dong, dong, dong. The Ling, Ling, Ling. The Ling, Ling, Ling. The Hell Demon Suppression Spear pierced through their bodies easily. It was as easy as paper. Suddenly, a large amount of blood burst out from their bodies. The tyrannical chi energy destroyed every part of their bodies. Boom! In the next second, their huge bodies fell to the ground, creating holes. Their eyes were wide open, as if they could not believe that they were killed so easily by humans. This Lu Rolan was shocked. They were known as the overlords of the forest. The people from the soul race would have to sacrifice many lives to kill them. However, they were killed so easily by this demon. Their bodies that were harder than diamonds were pierced easily. It was a shocking scene. Without a doubt, the demon's weapon was extremely terrifying. It was definitely a demonic weapon. She immediately felt that the demons were not only scary in their own strength, but also in their possession of many powerful weapons. This multiplied their strength and made them unbeatable. Not a bad beast. They're full of energy. Looks like we'll have dinner tonight. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. He grabbed the ling, and placed them in his space ring as food storage. A few days later, Xia Ping and Lu Rolan headed for the Soul Stone Mine. Along the way, they encountered many beasts. They were all unique to the Blood Soul mainland. However, Xia Ping killed them one by one. None of them were a match for him. Lu Rolan's injuries had healed as well. She was almost as good as before. Due to the daily consumption of ferocious beast meat, her qi and blood had become extremely vigorous and radiant. She seemed to have become even more beautiful. After all, ferocious beast meat was a very precious resource in the Blood Soul continent. Even the big families could not consume it every day. It was very beneficial to the human body. Xia Ping also felt that his energy was much stronger. The power in his body had increased as well. Chapter 1140. Precious Spiritual Medicine. Xia Ping also knew that in a continent like this, the treasures were definitely not limited to soul stones. There were also many precious spiritual medicine growing there, which was extremely beneficial to martial artists. In the past few days, he had also found many spiritual medicine along the way, but they were just ordinary spiritual medicine with average value. Now that Corinne had personally reminded him, it was obvious that the spiritual medicine was definitely not ordinary. Where are you going? Isn't the Soul Stone Mine in this direction? Lu Rolan immediately noticed that Xia Ping seemed to have changed his direction and could not help but remind him. There's no hurry. Let's find a spiritual medicine first, Xia Ping said. His figure flickered as he headed in the direction that Corinne had pointed. Lu Rolan had no choice but to follow him. More than 10 minutes later, Xia Ping and Lu Rolan arrived at a valley. Before they even got close, the two of them sensed that the valley was filled with the rich fragrance of spiritual medicine. They even felt a sense of concentration and calmness, feeling that the valley was extremely peaceful. All of their worries were thrown away, and they were in a state of emptiness. It was extremely magical. Oh my God, this is the peace bloom. When Xia Ping and Lu Rolan entered the valley, Lu Rolan's beautiful eyes widened when she saw the spiritual medicine growing in the middle of the valley. She could not help but exclaim, clearly recognizing what it was. The spiritual medicine looked like a sunflower growing on the ground, emitting circles of holy white light that spread out and covered the entire valley. At that moment, there seemed to be many ferocious beasts around the valley. There were hundreds and thousands of them in different shapes and sizes, and every one of them was not inferior to the steel tiger they had encountered earlier. They looked around cautiously, their eyes filled with savagery and greed. Bathing in the light, they all hoped to devour this flower. However, there were too many competitors around. They did not dare to make any moves at the moment, afraid that they would become the target of public criticism if they acted rashly. Even if they had low intelligence, it did not mean that they did not have a crisis instinct. What's a peace bloom? Xia Ping asked. He knew that this spiritual medicine was definitely extraordinary. If it was not so, why would so many ferocious beasts appear around the valley and cause a fight? The peace bloom is an extremely precious spiritual medicine in the Blood Soul continent. Only the bigwigs of the Soul Palace are qualified to possess it. I've heard of it before, but I've never seen it before. Lu Rolan said, "It's said that consuming the peace bloom has the effect of calming one's mind and removing distracting thoughts, allowing one to enter the state of epiphany more easily." Furthermore, it can greatly increase one's soul energy, enhance one's aptitude, and increase one's magic power. A single peace bloom is worth as much as a city. She was also very excited. She didn't expect to find the peace bloom in such a remote place. If she could get this spirit herb, her strength would definitely improve greatly. Perhaps he would have the chance to ascend to the transcendent realm and take his revenge. After all, Huining City's Soul Palace Lord was only a divine power realm early-stage cultivator. He was only one realm away from her. Very good. Then let's get rid of all these beasts and seize the peace bloom. Xia Ping was very satisfied and immediately got to work. What? Hearing that, Lu Rolan was scared half to death. Did this perverted demon know what was going on? Hundreds and thousands of beasts surrounded the valley, and danger lurked everywhere. In such a situation, this perverted demon still wanted to seize the peace bloom. Did he not want to live anymore? Was he not afraid of being surrounded and beaten to death by these beasts? She felt that this demon was practically a lunatic, the kind that did not want to live anymore. However, before she could say anything, Xia Ping had already made his move. Spiritual secret technique, Lion's adamantine seal. Xia Ping formed a seal with both hands, and the power of his consciousness surged. His entire body exploded with golden light, as if a divine lion had appeared behind him, looking down from above. Roar! Immediately, the divine lion roared into the sky, and its spiritual wave solidified. Golden light spread in all directions, covering the entire valley. Ouch! Lu Rolan was instantly moved. Her head felt like it was about to split open, as if the spiritual attack was about to tear her brain apart. She retreated continuously, escaping the range of the spiritual wave attack. However, the other beasts could not escape so quickly, and they were immediately heavily injured. Peng peng peng. In the blink of an eye, the weaker beasts were knocked to the ground. Their souls were shattered, their bodies turned into empty shells, and their eyes lost their luster. Even the rocks on the ground were affected by the spiritual attack. Shocking cracks appeared on them, and the weaker rocks were shaken to the point of madness. Far away, large trees began to crackle, and countless cracks appeared on them, as if they were swept by a storm. No way, what kind of spiritual secret technique is this? It's so violent and unstoppable. It's like a divine lion has descended. Could it be a technique comparable to Soul Palace's secret technique? Lu Rolan was shocked. She did not expect to see a spiritual secret technique not inferior to Soul Palace's from an evil devil. It had unstoppable power. With just one attack, most of the beasts in the valley were shaken to death. Although the other beasts with powerful spiritual powers did not die, they were shaken to the point of disorientation. They swayed and bled from their orifices. This was the terror of a spiritual attack. No matter how strong one's body was, even if it was harder than diamond, it was useless. If one couldn't block it, they would die. All of you, become my food. Xia Ping attacked again and again, killing all of them. Ever since he awakened the golden crow of hell's stomach, his need for food had increased greatly. He especially craved food that was filled with energy. This made him a glutton like a glutton. Therefore, these beasts were great nourishment for him. Eating one was equivalent to taking a pill. It could speed up his cultivation and increase his magic power. A dozen or so minutes later, all the beasts in the valley were killed. They piled up into a small mountain. It was a majestic sight, and the valley was filled with the thick smell of blood. Whoosh! Xia Ping took action and quickly stored the beasts into his space ring as food. This is insane. Lu Rolan was numb. She sensed that the evil devil's martial arts realm was the same as hers. It was only at the fulfillment realm, and it was even at the early stage. However, his combat strength was unbelievably strong. It was unbelievable that he could defeat powerful Fulfillment Realm enemies. That's right, there's also the Peace Bloom. Xia Ping walked up, wanting to pluck the Peace Bloom as well and take it for himself. Stop! Leave the Peace Bloom. At that moment, a shout came from afar. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, a terrifying arrow spiraled over, aiming for Xia Ping's head. Like lightning, it was filled with killing intent. Humph! Chapter 1141. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, a rumbling sound came from afar. Immediately, a dozen earth dragons flew over from afar. Their auras were mighty and the ground shook. Soon, they arrived before Xia Ping and Lu Rolan. On the back of the earth dragons, dozens of silhouettes appeared. Among them was a middle-aged man in a black robe with a longbow in his hand. His gaze was cold. It was obvious that he was the one who wanted to shoot Xia Ping. However, the black-robed man was not the leader of this group. One of them wore a gorgeous robe and rode a golden earth dragon by himself. He looked majestic and handsome, and he had a long sword on his back. He looked like a high and mighty noble young master. The people around him were like guards, surrounding him. It was obvious that his identity was not ordinary. Be careful. Lu Roland's expression was very serious. To be able to tame a fierce beast like the Earth Dragon, his background is not ordinary. Even the Huining City Hall Master could not do this. This group of people might be nobles from the Soul Hall main hall. They are extremely powerful. She was knowledgeable and immediately recognized that this group of people had a powerful background. A force like Huining City could not be compared to them. They were at least important figures from the Soul Hall headquarters. Moreover, these people were at least Purple Mansion Realm cultivators. The strongest one was at the peak of Fulfillment Realm. All of them were elites. No matter where they were in the Blood Soul mainland, they were a force that could not be underestimated. As long as there were no Divine Realm cultivators, they could do whatever they wanted and no one dared to offend them. He took an arrow from me and did not die. This kid seems to be quite capable. The black-robed middle-aged man was slightly surprised to see that Xia Ping was not dead. According to his expectation, this kid should have been killed by his arrow in an instant without a chance to fight back. Xia Ping was very unhappy. This group of people wanted to kill him without saying anything. They were extremely arrogant and had no regard for human life. However, before he could speak, the young man in the luxurious robe shouted excitedly, "Haha, Peace Bloom. That's right, it's the legendary Peace Bloom that grows in this valley. Just now, I was wondering why there was such a big commotion in this place, so I came to take a look out of curiosity. I didn't expect to find the Peace Bloom. This young master's luck is really too good. If I can consume this Peace Bloom, I'll definitely be able to ascend to the divine tier." He laughed heartily, looking very excited. "Congratulations, young master, congratulations, young master. Young master is indeed someone blessed by heaven and earth. I didn't expect that he would find the Peace Bloom just by coming out to train. Even the heavens have decided that young master will become the Soul Palace master in the future." The surrounding people were all flattering him, and the young man had a comfortable expression on his face. Obviously, he was very comfortable and satisfied with the compliments of the people around him. "Men, pluck this Peace Bloom for me." The young man in a luxurious robe waved his hand and issued an order to his subordinates. "Yes, young master." A guard rode on an earth dragon, stomping on the ground, causing it to rumble and shake like a hurricane. He wanted to rush to the center of the valley and pluck the Peace God flower. The guard riding the earth dragon clearly saw Xia Ping standing in front of Ning Shenhua, but he didn't want to talk nonsense with Xia Ping. He didn't say a word, and his face showed a cold expression. The earth dragon was still madly running, and there were wild gales and waves all around, as if it wanted to trample the person in front of it to death. To them, anyone who dared to stand in their way was no different from an ant. If they were to be crushed, then so be it. In the blood-soul continent, human life was like grass. Very arrogant. Xia Ping's eyes flashed coldly. This group of people simply didn't put him in their eyes, snatching the peace bloom as if it was a matter of course. Extremely overbearing. He punched out. Dong! The tyrannical fist energy blasted out from his body. It could be called the 100 Steps Divine Fist as it smashed into the earth dragon. Oh no, what kind of attack was this? The guard immediately sensed a great danger, and he was finally moved. He no longer had the arrogant expression from before, and every cell in his body felt the approaching danger. But the speed of the fist energy was too fast. Even if he wanted to turn around and escape, it was too late. No, no, no! The guard shouted. In the next second, the fist energy exploded like a nuclear bomb. The huge body of the earth dragon exploded, turning into a pile of meat paste, and blood poured all over the ground. The guard only let out a shrill scream and was smashed into pieces by the punch. He went to hell with the earth dragon, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't put his body back together. Xia Ping still stood in the same place, not moving a step. What? Seeing the elite guard killed by a punch and turned into a pile of meat paste, the group of people finally looked at Xia Ping, but all of them showed anger. Lowly peasant, how dare you? One of the guards shouted, who told you to kill my brother? Do you want to die? Everyone was extremely angry, and their faces were gloomy. They didn't expect that there would be someone who dared to attack them. It was simply audacious to the extreme. If you dare to attack me, it won't be a pity even if you die 100 times. Xia Ping sneered, if any of you dare to act rashly and dare to snatch the peace bloom in front of me, you will die. His murderous intent instantly enveloped the whole valley. Who is this guy? How dare he stop this young master from getting the peace bloom? The man in the luxurious robe frowned. He felt very unhappy. There was actually someone who wanted to stop him from getting the peace bloom. I'm not sure. The middle-aged man with the longbow next to him said, I saw this kid trying to pick the peace bloom, so I wanted to shoot him to death with an arrow, lest he ruin the young master's plan. I didn't expect him to have some ability, to be able to block my arrow. He said what had just happened. He can actually block your arrow. No wonder my man was killed by him with a punch. It seems that he has some ability. No wonder he is so unruly and doesn't know how to appreciate favors. The man in the luxurious robe sneered. He was not moved at all by the death of his men. These guards died for him, and it was their duty. No matter how many died, he would not feel sad at all. Just like slaves, the number of deaths could be replenished. Young master, don't worry. I will go kill this lowly peasant now, eradicate this dangerous factor, and snatch the peace bloom. The middle-aged man with the longbow said in a deep voice, his body exuding a strong murderous intent. Chapter 1142. Wait, there seems to be a pretty girl here. Suddenly, the man in the luxurious robe noticed Lu Rulan standing beside Xia Ping. He was previously attracted by the peace bloom and didn't notice Lu Rulan beside him. Now that his gaze was attracted by Xia Ping, he noticed Lu Rulan immediately and his eyes lit up. Lu Rulan was simply too charming. She had a perfect face and the aura of a saintess. Coupled with her voluptuous body, it was simply tempting. Especially when she was wearing a cheongsam, it accentuated her figure even more seductive. She was simply like a Greek goddess who walked out of the myths. Countless men would kneel before her skirt. The man in the luxurious robe was no exception. He was instantly captivated. Indeed the best in the world. I've seen many beautiful women, but I've never seen a beauty with such temperament. She's so beautiful that she doesn't seem like someone from the mortal world. Could this beauty be that lowly commoner's wife? Why is she beside him? She's actually wearing such shameless clothes. The moral degeneration of the world is getting worse and worse. If she's really that lowly commoner's wife, she probably wouldn't wear such clothes. She might be his female slave. Damn, what right does that lowly commoner have to get such a beauty? How infuriating. Just where did he buy it from? Just what kind of luck did he have? He didn't even offer such a beauty to the Soul Palace's headquarters. Just what are those people doing? I'll have to punish them when I get back. Let's see if they still dare to go against me. The guards around them noticed Lu Rulan as well. Their eyes were filled with greed. They could not wait to take this peerless beauty as their own and dominate her completely. These guys. Lu Rulan frowned. She was very unhappy because these people were looking at her like she was a commodity. They were picking and choosing, as if they didn't treat her as a human being. Compared to the other realm demon beside her, she actually liked this other realm demon much more. At least this guy wouldn't look at her like that. However, she also knew that this was the culture of the Blood Soul mainland. The strong could have everything and dominate everything. The weak couldn't resist and could only accept it obediently. It could be said that the level of hierarchy in this continent was much stricter than any place Xia Ping had ever seen. The difference of one level was like the difference between heaven and earth. The weak could only submit or die. It was impossible to offend one's superior. This was because humans who cultivated occult spirit techniques were different from humans who cultivated martial arts. If there was a huge gap in spirit power, no matter what technique one used, it would not be able to make up for it. High-level humans could easily slaughter a group of low-level humans. Moreover, in order to preserve their lives, the weak had to offer large amounts of tribute to the strong. Even if the strong took a liking to the weak's wife, they had to obediently hand her over without resistance. Among these experts, there was no doubt that Soul Palace's people were supreme. They controlled all the power, and everyone below them was exploited and oppressed by Soul Palace. Lu Qi. The man in the luxurious robe narrowed his eyes and looked down from above. He gave an order, "Go up and kill this lowly commoner. Dismember his body with 5 horses and bring the woman beside him back to me, as well as the Ning Shenhua." Not only did he want to kill Xia Ping, but he also wanted to snatch the woman by Xia Ping's side, snatch the Ning Shenhua, and dominate everything. As for words like discussion, cooperation, and negotiation, they would never appear in his dictionary. To put it bluntly, he did not care about the man's identity at all. After all, there were not many people on the Blood Soul continent that he could not afford to offend. "Yes, young master." The middle-aged man named Lu Qi nodded slightly. He immediately stood on the earth dragon and knocked an arrow, pouring all the power of his consciousness and mana into the bow and arrow. He cultivated an archery technique called the Soul Extinguishing Arrow. Using spirit power to lock onto the enemy's aura, he would then concentrate all his mana on the arrow and release it in an instant. The destructive power of the arrow would reach a shocking level. Although he was only a cultivator at the peak of the fulfillment realm, a full-powered arrow could even heavily injure a cultivator at the early stage of the divinity realm if it hit. Even if his consciousness locked onto the enemy's aura, this was also a tracking arrow. If it did not completely hit the enemy, or if the arrow was not destroyed, it would not stop. Even if the enemy fled to the ends of the world, the tracking arrow would still be able to track them down and kill them from hundreds of kilometers away. Swoosh! In the blink of an eye, an arrow was released. It tore through the air and spun continuously, producing a buzzing sound as it shot towards Xia Ping at an extremely fast speed. Lu Qi was only 2 to 3 kilometers away from Xia Ping. The arrow's speed reached 20 to 30 times the speed of sound. It arrived before Xia Ping in the blink of an eye with a terrifying killing intent. "That's fast." Lu Rulan was shocked. Now that she had recovered her cultivation base at the late stage of the fulfillment realm, her powerful consciousness could sense how terrifying Lu Qi's arrow was. Even though she could sense the arrow's trajectory with her spiritual power, her body could not react in time. If the arrow was aimed at her, she would have been killed long ago. This was not a secret technique that could only be obtained in an ordinary city. It was definitely a shocking secret technique that came from the Soul Hall's headquarters. How dare you come again? Xia Ping's gaze was getting colder. Under his consciousness, the arrow's speed was extremely slow. It was almost as if it was still. It would be a piece of cake for him to dodge it if he wanted to. However, he did not dodge. Instead, he planned to take it head-on. He had to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. Low-grade spirit weapon, black horn armor. At that moment, Xia Ping immediately activated his low-grade spirit weapon, black horn armor. It was a powerful spirit weapon that he had obtained from the Red Scarf Thief. It had an extremely powerful defense. Once activated, with his current magic power, even a normal divine power realm cultivator would not be able to hurt him. Therefore, Xia Ping was fearless. He merely stood where he was and let the arrow shoot towards him. Dong! In the blink of an eye, the arrow turned into a stream of light and struck Xia Ping's body. However, at that moment, layers of black energy barriers exploded from the black horn armor. Hundreds and thousands of layers were activated, like mountains stacked on top of each other. Meanwhile, the arrow's energy exploded instantly. The layers of energy barriers were destroyed, and hundreds of layers were torn apart. However, it still could not penetrate the black horn armor's defense. The place where Xia Ping was standing was also bombarded. A huge shockwave swept in all directions, creating a shocking hole in the ground. Gravel flew everywhere and sand rolled. The people around could not see what was happening. Chapter 1143. Poor guy. He's probably turned into ashes now. What's there to be pitiful about? It's not a good thing for someone who doesn't know what's good for him to die. Indeed. If he had escaped earlier, he might have had a chance to live. Now that he dares to fight us head-on and put up a desperate fight, who's going to die if he doesn't? That's right. Not only is he dead now, but even the woman next to him belongs to the young master. This is what happens to those who dare offend the young master. This is a lesson learned. How dare you act so arrogantly without any strength? I can laugh at this joke for a whole year. The guards around him sneered. They were not surprised at Xia Ping's death at all. After all, only divine realm cultivators could block Lu Qi's arrow. No, that's not right. That guy isn't dead yet. Unlike the people around him, Lu Qi's expression was extremely serious. That arrow was different from any of the arrows he had shot before. He did not feel like he had killed his enemy at all. That was because the moment the arrow was destroyed, the divine sense he had imbued into the arrow had clearly sensed that his arrow had not pierced through the enemy's body. Instead, it had been destroyed. Even though the yellow sand was billowing and he could not see his surroundings, he could still sense that the enemy was still there. A lingering sense of danger enveloped his body as if a great disaster was about to befall him. Swoosh! Suddenly, Lu Qi noticed a dazzling white light appear in the yellow sand. It was even more dazzling than the sun in the sky. It was as if it was the only light in the world. The moment the white light appeared, the entire world seemed to darken. It was as if the light had completely locked onto his body. No matter where he ran, he would not be able to escape. Impossible! Lu Seven let out a shrill cry. He finally understood how those enemies who had been shot in the head by him felt before they died. The feeling of being targeted was so helpless. It was as if he had been targeted by the Grim Reaper. No matter where he ran, the Grim Reaper's power would follow him like a shadow and descend upon him. It was an unchangeable ending. He could even sense that the white light was even faster than his arrow. Even though he had trained his reflexes for hundreds of years, he could not react in time at all. Dong! Just as he was about to dodge, the white light pierced through his forehead. A small, bloody hole appeared, and blood dripped out of it. So fast. That was the only thought left in Lu Qi's mind before he died. His eyes were wide open, as if he could not believe that he had been killed in an instant. He did not even have a chance to fight back. With a plop, his body lost its support and fell from the earth dragon's body, rolling on the ground like a football. Lord Lu. The surrounding guards all cried out in surprise. They were stunned because everything had happened too quickly. From the appearance of the white light to Lu Qi's death, only a breath's time had passed. In such a short period of time, they did not know what had happened. All they knew was that Lu Qi suddenly let out a blood-curdling scream and fell from the earth dragon's body, dying on the spot. Lu Qi. The man in the luxurious robe was also shocked. His most capable subordinate had suddenly died. He was now in a completely dumbfounded state, and his entire mind was blank. Not dead, that lowlife is not dead yet. Someone shouted. At this moment, the sand and dust dispersed, revealing the original appearance of the person. Xia Ping was still standing in his original position, completely unharmed. It's him. That lowlife killed Lord Lu Qi. He must have done it. Many people screamed because there were no other enemies at the scene apart from Xia Ping and Lu Rulan. Lu Rulan was a woman and a slave, so they automatically ignored her. They did not treat her as a fighting force at all. How is that possible? How did that lowlife kill Lord Lu? What happened just now? The guards still did not know how Lu Qi had died because Xia Ping was 2 to 3 kilometers away from them. He should not have been able to attack them from such a distance. However, the problem was that Lu Qi had died on the spot. That was the truth, so they were all confused. He's too powerful. The only one who saw it clearly was Lu Rulan. She clearly saw that the extraterrestrial devil grabbed with his hand. His mana vibrated and a sharp dagger was formed instantly. He then threw the dagger lightly. The speed of the dagger was even faster than an arrow. In the next second, she heard Lu Qi's blood-curdling scream and saw Lu Qi being killed and rolling off the earth dragon's body. He killed a cultivator at the peak of the fulfillment realm with just one move. She thought she was dreaming. Is this the true power of an extraterrestrial devil? How can he be so terrifying? Moreover, with such power, why would he need to find the Soul Hall's mental secret technique? With that power alone, he could defeat all his enemies and be invincible. She thought she knew Xia Ping's power, but it seemed like she had greatly underestimated him. He was unfathomable, and she had no idea what his bottom line was. All of you must die. Xia Ping looked at the man in the luxurious robe and the others calmly. His tone was calm as if he was the Grim Reaper's order to kill. If the King of Hell wanted someone dead at midnight, who would dare to stay until midnight? Kill him. Let's go together and kill this lowlife. The man in the luxurious robe was completely infuriated by those words. His face was twisted and red as if he had gone mad. He roared madly and gave his guards an order. His body was trembling slightly because he could feel a terrifying killing intent from Xia Ping. It was as if he was being stared at by a peerless ferocious beast. His life was like a candle in the wind that could be extinguished at any time. This was a feeling he had never felt in his life. This was a near-death experience. No matter what identity, status, power, or wealth, they had to lower their heads in the face of death. They were all incomparably humble. If he didn't kill this brat, he would definitely die. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Hearing the order, dozens of guards moved, riding on the earth dragons. Like an army, they moved forward majestically, charging towards Xia Ping. With this kind of power, even 100-meter-tall city wall would be easily knocked down. Kill. Xia Ping stood where he was and threw a punch. Sacred ultimate skill, Sun God Fist. Immediately, his fist shone with golden light. Endless flames gathered together and formed a giant red sun. It crushed towards the group of guards just like that. These flames contained the essence of the sun and had the characteristics of destruction. Once touched by it, it would not stop until the body was burned to ashes. It was extremely domineering. Chapter 1144. Oh no, he's not from the Blood Soul mainland. He's an extraterritorial demon. Only an extraterritorial demon can wield such power, someone shouted immediately. In the Blood Soul mainland, almost everyone mastered the power of mental attacks. Very few learned other powers. Only the extraterritorial demons could wield the power of fire. What? The man in the luxurious robe's expression changed. He finally understood why the young man before him was not afraid of his identity and was so bold and unscrupulous. It turned out that he was not from the Blood Soul mainland, but an extraterritorial demon. To the real extraterritorial demons, his background and identity were a joke. There was no one that an extraterritorial demon would not dare to kill. Oh no! The group of guards immediately felt that something was wrong. They initially thought that they would be able to ride on the earth dragons and trample the arrogant kid to death. Who would have thought that the kid would suddenly turn into an extraterritorial demon and unleash such terrifying power of fire? It seemed like every flame in the air could destroy everything. Boom! At that moment, the sun fell from the sky and immediately erupted with a terrifying power of flames. It was like a nuclear explosion, and the impact spread out in all directions. A crater with a diameter of a few kilometers appeared on the ground immediately, with a loud rumble. At the same time, the power of fire exploded and swept in all directions, hitting the guards. In just a breath's time, the guards were surrounded by flames and burned. Soon, they let out shrill screams that were extremely ear-piercing. However, the screams did not last long because their bodies were quickly burned to ashes by the flames. Even the earth dragons could not escape the fate of being roasted and were directly burned into charcoal. The fire spread on the ground, burning the rocks and turning them into molten lava that flowed in all directions. Dozens of cracks appeared on the ground, and thick smoke rose as the lava flowed. Such a scene was no different from a volcanic eruption. They're all dead. Lu Rolan was speechless. Even though she was standing behind Xia Ping, she could feel the power of fire that could affect heaven and earth. The heat waves were so strong that even her bones were about to melt. She was stupefied. The power of this move was too terrifying. Those menacing Imperial guards had all died. If they didn't die in the aftermath of the explosion, they were burned to death by the flames. Not a single one was spared. The only ones who were still alive were the man in the luxurious robe and 2 or 3 of his confidants. Run, run quickly. Those are fiends from the outer realm. We can't fight them head-on. Quickly return to the Soul Palace and inform the palace master of this matter. A terrifying outer realm evil demon has descended. Immediately send troops to surround and annihilate it. The man in the luxurious robe and the others were scared out of their wits. They no longer had the courage to fight. The reputation of the extraterritorial fiends was like the shadow of a tree. God knew how many experts of the Blood Soul continent had been killed by them. The strength that he had displayed had scared them out of their wits. They quickly rode on the earth dragons and turned around to leave. As for the peace bloom, they no longer dared to hope for it. It was already a great fortune to be able to keep their lives. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Xia Ping didn't even look at them. He flicked his finger lightly, and immediately, more than 10 streams of qi condensed from flames shot out like lasers. They were extremely fast and covered an area. Ah! A few of the guards let out shrill cries. Their bodies were pierced and sent flying, exploding in mid-air and turning into a pile of shards. It's over. The man in the luxurious robe's face was pale. He could feel that he was about to die. He was hit by the flames, and with his body alone, there was no way he could block it. At that moment, there was a sudden roar. Boom! In an instant, an earth-shattering sound rang out in the air, like the roar of an ancient beast. Terrifying sound waves spread out, affecting the yuan qi of the heaven and earth within a radius of several dozen miles. Immediately, the fire qi that had blasted on the man in the luxurious robe was shaken into nothingness. The power even traveled through the air towards Xia Ping, causing the air to tremble thousands of times. Finally making a move. Xia Ping was not flustered. He had long sensed that there was a divine realm expert spying on him. He did not use his full strength because he was constantly on guard against the other party. However, just as he was about to kill the man in the luxurious robe, the expert finally could not hold back and chose to make a move. His figure flashed as he moved horizontally, plucking the peace bloom and putting it in his spatial ring to prevent it from being destroyed by the shockwaves. He instantly moved hundreds of meters away. The power of the sound waves pushed forward, hitting a small mountain behind Xia Ping. Immediately, the small mountain was flattened and shattered into countless shards. The trees on the mountain were also shaken into dust. The destructive power was shocking. Whoosh! In the next second, a goateed old man stepped out of the air and arrived beside the luxurious robe man. His clothes fluttered despite the absence of wind. His aura was solemn, as if his every move could draw in the power of the world. Elder Qi, why are you here? Seeing the goateed old man appear, the luxurious robe man was overjoyed. He did not expect to see an elder of the Hall of Souls here. It was too unexpected. Your father asked me to protect you in secret, but I cannot reveal my whereabouts. After all, this is a trial for you. The goateed old man stroked his beard and smiled. The goateed old man stroked his beard and said with a smile, however, since the fiends have appeared, this is no longer within the scope of training. Therefore, I have no choice but to take action. He stared at Xia Ping with an aloof expression. Elder of the Hall of Souls. Lu Roland's expression changed. She knew that to become an elder of the Hall of Souls, one had to be at least in the divinity realm. Even the Soul Hall Lord of Huining City was only at the early stage of the divinity realm. Now that an expert of this level had appeared, it seemed like they would not be able to escape this time. Yes. Elder Qi, this guy is an extraterrestrial fiend. He wanted to kill me just now. Kill him now. Kill him now. Kill this demon. The luxurious robe man shouted as if he had found a powerful backer. He was no longer panicking like before. He stared at Xia Ping with eyes filled with hatred. If not for Elder Qi, he would have been killed by this extraterrestrial fiend long ago. This was an irreconcilable feud. If he could capture this extraterrestrial fiend alive, he would definitely make this extraterrestrial fiend suffer a fate worse than death. Fiend. The old man with a goatee looked down from above. You still dare to enter the Blood-Soul continent. You're quite courageous. Do you want to surrender and be imprisoned in the Soul Hall's prison, or do you want to resist and be killed by me personally? With your fulfillment realm strength, it's impossible for you to survive 3 attacks from me. You're out of luck to meet me in this place. You're out of luck. Chapter 1145. The goateed old man exuded a powerful aura that was as deep as the abyss. It was as though he wanted to crush Xia Ping's mental defenses with his words and subdue him without a fight. Even though he was extremely confident in his own strength, it was still a good thing to be able to finish off this extraterrestrial fiend without a fight. After all extraterrestrial fiends had strange methods. If they were to really fight to the death, who knew what would happen? Kneel. With Elder Qi backing him up, the man in luxurious robes became even more arrogant. Extraterrestrial fiend, kneel down and beg for mercy. Kowtow 800 times and repent for killing my underling. Otherwise, once Elder Qi strikes, you'll die without a burial ground. By then, you won't even be able to die even if you wanted to. Do you understand? His expression was menacing. He had already thought of all sorts of cruel methods to torture Xiaoping to vent his hatred. Old man, you want to save him? What a joke. No one can save someone I want to kill. Since you want to die, I'll grant you your wish. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back with a calm gaze. Even if a God-state cultivator appeared here, he wouldn't be worried. It wasn't as though he hadn't killed one before. Stubborn. If that's the case, you can go die. The goateed old man's eyes flashed coldly. He could instinctively sense a dangerous aura coming from Xiaoping. Even though he didn't know what methods this extraterrestrial fiend had, he wouldn't foolishly wait for the other party to use them. He wanted to use the most ruthless and swift methods to kill this extraterrestrial fiend instantly. That way, even if he had a backup plan, he wouldn't be able to use it. Mental secret skill, bat annihilation. At that moment, the goateed old man struck. He formed a seal with both hands and the power of his consciousness gathered rapidly. Opening his mouth, he let out a loud roar. However, this roar was silent and undetectable by human ears. This was because it was a sonic wave. This was a powerful skill that imitated the sound of bats. Once it was released, the sonic wave that contained the power of a consciousness attack would spread out for tens of miles. Any living being would be shattered by the sonic wave. As an early-stage divine tier cultivator, the goateed old man's strength was even more terrifying. He had already condensed a martial arts divine tier, and it only took him an instant to use this move. Its power had reached an unimaginable level. Rumble. Immediately, with his body as the center, circles of sound waves spread out and solidified. The ground was flattened by the power of the sound waves, and the gravel on the ground was shaken into powder. Countless cracks had also appeared under his feet, like a spider web, densely covering the surroundings. Popping sounds rang out, and the ground within a radius of tens of miles was trembling. It's over. Lu Rolan clenched her fists tightly, her body trembling slightly. This was the power of heaven and earth, like the murmur of an ancient god. Once hit, one would definitely turn into ashes. This was the terror of a cultivator in the divine realm. She was not afraid of death, but she was afraid that she would die silently without avenging her parents. This was something she could not accept. Die, fiend. The goateed old man raised his strength to the limit. In order to instantly slay this foreign fiend demon and prevent any undue troubles, even though he was a major realm lower than Xiaoping, he still used his full strength. Therefore, the destructive power was simply unimaginable. It was like a bat that was at the level of an ancient ferocious beast roaring. The sound waves spread out, and the power of the sound waves exploded completely. It was no less than a nuclear bomb. Moreover, the destructive power was even more shocking than a nuclear bomb. It penetrated the essence of an object, and once something was hit by the power of the sound waves, it would be completely destroyed within a breath's time, and its soul would be destroyed. Go! Xiaoping did not even look at it. With a thought, he immediately released the moon god from his space ring. The massive moon god appeared from thin air, crashing towards the goateed old man in midair. It was like a huge meteorite had appeared out of thin air, falling from outer space. This was a move that Xiaoping had thought about for a long time. He could use the space ring to launch many powerful attacks. If he released the items in the space ring in an instant, it could create an unexpected effect. If he were to throw the massive spaceship out, the effect would be no less than summoning a meteorite from outer space. What? As expected, the goateed old man was shocked, and he was a little dumbfounded. He had no idea what was going on. Why did such a massive object suddenly appear, almost covering the entire valley, as if it was shrouded by a shadow? Bang bang bang. The sound wave attack was blocked by the massive object without a doubt. Immediately, a loud sound rang out. However, the moon god's exterior was made of special materials and was incomparably hard. Even though the goateed old man's divine ability was extremely powerful, it could not damage the outer shell of the moon god's spaceship. It only caused a few banging sounds, and the spaceship remained undamaged. Damn it! The goateed old man's expression changed. He had not expected such an unforeseen event. If he were hit by the massive object, he would probably be smashed into meat paste. Let's go. He instinctively felt that this extraterrestrial demon was not to be trifled with. Even though there was a major realm difference between them, this extraterrestrial demon had too many tricks up its sleeves. He did not know what would happen in the next second. Therefore, he felt that staying here was not a good thing. As the saying goes, a gentleman does not stand under a collapsing wall. It was better to return to the Soul Palace headquarters and gather a large group of people to surround and annihilate the extraterrestrial demon. Whoosh! He single-handedly grabbed the man in the luxurious robe as if he was grabbing a chick. The goateed old man's figure flickered as he flew through the air, moving horizontally and dodging in an instant. Moreover, he did not stop and fled into the distance, with no intention of turning back. He's escaping. Lou Roland's beautiful eyes widened. She had actually seen a divine realm cultivator fleeing. Moreover, he was an elder of the Soul Palace. He was facing a fulfillment realm extraterrestrial demon. This was too unbelievable. Since when was the elder of the Soul Palace so cowardly that he did not dare to fight an extraterrestrial demon to the death? Moon God, shoot him down. Xia Ping immediately contacted Moon God's AI and activated the ship's internal weapon system. The purple lightning cannon was fired. Dong! Immediately, a thick bolt of purple lightning shot out from Moon God. It locked onto the goateed old man's aura and blasted out like a god-slaying spear. Oh no! The goateed old man's expression changed. He felt great danger, but when he turned back, he immediately saw a bolt of purple lightning blasting towards him. It was extremely fast. Dong! The lightning spear instantly pierced through his body. Even the man in the luxurious robe in his hand was no exception. His entire body exploded from the lightning. No, no, no! The man in the luxurious robe screamed crazily in extreme fear. He was an important figure with a boundless future. How could he die in this nameless place? But no matter how he screamed, he was quickly turned into pieces under the attack of the purple lightning cannon. Along with the goateed old man, he disappeared from this world. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.